A very good evening on what is a freezing cold Saturday night here in the UK. Welcome along to round 3 of the Formula Student Sim Racing Series 2023-2024. I'm Giles Cosgrove. She is Jess Ball, and welcome to what is going to be a very, very exciting night of racing. Really hyped for this one. We've got classic GT cars coming to you from the hallowed tarmac that is Donington. So let's talk to you about where we are in the series so far. So this is round 3. As you can see, we're coming to you from Donington, and it's a 9-corner circuit. Just talk us through the difference between this and the international circuit over at Donington.
Yes, the International Grand Prix circuit is the one we know and love mainly. It cuts off the Melbourne hairpin and it misses out on the S's, which, in my opinion, I like that. So it's a shame that's not on the track. It has 9 corners, you were saying. From the Starkey Straight, it then goes straight to Roberts and then the Wheatcott Straight. So that is the main differences compared to the national track. So that means they cut the hairpin, basically, just to make it easier for the drivers tonight as well. First used as in 1902. It was owned in 1902 in the Donington Park circuit, and into the 1930s there were many circuits that were also was challenging Donington Park, Brookland as well, if you remember as well. And there was loads of improvements for the spectator facilities. GT is kind of like the main thing around Donington as well, and I think there used to be a club circuit at Donington back in the day, another circuit which was born under an airfield, believe it or not, just like Silverstone, which we're going to obviously in July next year for the real life Formula Student 2024, and I'm excited to see how that is going to go. And as you can see, that is the schedule for tonight. Qualifying has just taken place. We've got 2 races tonight, which they have 2 drivers per university. 1 driver will do race 1, 1 driver will do race 2, qualifying at 7:25, and then the race 2 will be at 8 o'clock. And we've got a few servers tonight, and only the top tier server will be streamed live on the Formula Student YouTube channel, but we will keep you up to date on what is happening on the other servers, because that can make all the difference with the championship, Giles.
It can indeed. So, where are we in the championship as things stand? We've had round 1 at Interlagos. We have had round 2 over at Brands Hatch. We're going in now to round 3 at Donington National, one of my favourite circuits in the UK. It gave us my favourite Grand Prix of the 20th century, I can't lie. The European Grand Prix of 1993, an absolutely monumental drive from Ayrton Senna, and commentated on by the gods of commentary. It was, of course, Murray Walker and James Hunt at their absolute finest. Some people like ASMR before they go to bed. Some people like true crime. For me, 93 at Donington, the European Grand Prix. I love that. So really excited to be here at Donington today, albeit virtually, but it's going to be an absolutely cracking evening of racing. We'll be talking to you about the cars the drivers have selected in just a bit. We'll also be bringing you the results of the engineering challenge. That new one that we've got coming up will be announced very, very shortly. And as Jess said, we've got 2 races. Don't forget, you see race 1, don't go anywhere. We've got race 2 coming to you very, very soon. You've seen the running order for tonight. And it's not just me and Jess with you. We can actually put a face to the name. He's no longer the voice inside your head. He is James Montgomery. And look at this. We've got new graphics. He's here with us. Look at this.
Well, hello, everyone. How are we doing? Good evening. Nice to see you all. It's who's ready for some racing tonight?
Definitely.
Definitely. And I mean,
It's
going
not
to be
just us that are ready.
Oh no, it's definitely not us. Everyone outside in the audience, you guys ready for some racing? Did you see that
There
rain,
are
guys?
plenty of people here in the stream already. Scottish, oddly enough, watching from Scotland, and he's supporting himself. You've got Jamie and Kukik, who are watching from Victoria and supporting, of course, Vigo, naturally. Meanwhile, High Pre says, let's go, Rory. Cappy Rex, Famo Vittoria. Sandeep, meanwhile, says, go Southampton. Hopefully my idol Theo is here again. A lot of love there between the Southampton teammates. Chris Collar asking, where is Theo? And Theo has just replied in the stream saying he is here, and Sandeep seems to be over the moon with that. So clearly a bit of a Southampton fan club going on in the comments at the moment. Do let us know where you're watching from, who you're supporting. James and Jess, let's talk about the cars that we've got tonight and your predictions, because it's going to be a really interesting evening. We're running GT3 cars, and as things stand at the moment, the big players are Glasgow and Southampton, as we can see as a result at the end of round 2. But neither of them are running their Jokers tonight. They've already run them, so they're going to be running at a disadvantage. So that could put the cat amongst the pigeons. Here are things as they stand. University of Southampton in first with 205 points. Following them, University of Bolton with 189. Glasgow, who were winners of the series last year, they're in third. That might surprise you. They didn't have a great round 1, but they came back storming in round 2. Exactly what you'd expect. So they've already managed to climb their way well up the running order. University of Vigo have had a fairly great start to the season. They're in 4th with 178 points. University of Hull, they're in 5th with 158. 148 for Salford in 6th. University College Dublin, really been nice to see them in the top tier server, scrapping amongst the big boys. They've got 142 points in 7th. University of Portsmouth B team are there with 136 in 8th. In 9th, it's Cardiff University with 129. And rounding out the top 10, University of Bath with 124. So that's as things stand at the end of round 2, but things could all change at the drop of a hat tonight because, as we've been saying, the big protagonists have already run their Jokers. It's why they've had such good results so far, because they've been running 10% lighter. They're running the cars at 110%. If you run with your Joker, you're back to the original weight of your car, so you're going to go that little bit faster. And a lot of the drivers have been practicing their arses off, putting in lap after lap after lap on the practice server. Multiple drivers running with their Jokers, very light cars, and not a lot separating the field. We've got GT cars, plenty of options available to the drivers. All of them have gone for Porsches. And that is very interesting. You've got the 73 and the 74 GTRs from Porsche, and you have got a few 906s as well, which are gorgeous to look at. So it is a very Porsche-dominated field. Those drivers that didn't put in a car selection will have to run with a rather interesting-looking Jaguar with a unique paint job courtesy of James. So it's all to play for. James and Jess, what do we reckon then? What do we reckon? How do we think things are going to play out tonight?
After you, Jess.
Well, I have to say, there are 2 options in terms of Jokers, because obviously we've had six rounds, and for the first half they can have 1 Joker there, and then they can run the Joker after round 3 as well. So the ones who haven't run it in round 1 and round 2, there's quite a lot of them. So I think it's going to be pretty much quite competitive in terms of that. And obviously with Southampton, Glasgow, that could change things up a bit. They had a good racer last time out. It was really fun to watch as well. I really like the Porsche 906. It looks absolutely beautiful. It was run in 1964 and 65. It was inspired by the Korea car, which is probably why I like it in general as well. I'm quite surprised they haven't picked that car, but mainly because the 1973 and the 1974 cars are a lot lighter, which is probably why they chosen it compared to the Porsche 906. But Monty, what do you think?
I think there's going to be 2 main stories tonight, really, guys. Obviously, we're just looking at the top 20 there, but don't forget there's 53 universities that have entered for the season who have entered into this season's racing. 37 of them have qualified for tonight, and I think there's going to be 2 stories really going on this one tonight for me. You're quite right, Giles. With the Jokers already being used by Glasgow and Southampton, what can the rest do? Because check this out. So if we go back onto the first page. So, Hull, Bolton, Wales Trinity St David, Salford, Cardiff and Victoria are all using their jokers tonight. Now, if they're all on essentially the same car tonight, that's going to make the difference because they're basically running 30 kilograms lighter than those without their jokers. So I think they're going to have a competitive advantage tonight. The other story, and I'm really intrigued to see what happens, is the University of Vigo. They're brand new to the series this year, or this season, I should say. They won first time out in the first round. And then in the second round, they failed to qualify for the top tier server in either race. But they won both of their races in the bottom server. So they made the best of a bad situation, managed to score 50 points, and look, they still stay 4th overall in the standings. I am very intrigued to see what they can do tonight. Are we going to see more of that round 1 magic in their pace again? Or was that a flash in the pan? Can they come back? Those are my 2 main stories for tonight, if I'm going to be honest.
Cypher Nick wants to make it very, very clear that University Portsmouth Racing Alternative Fuel are also running their joker. There's a lot of chat going on in the stream. Don't forget to join us and let us know who you're supporting, where you're watching from. The Theo fan club has united. Theo says he's not driving this round of the competition. They'll be pleased to hear. I think the Southampton Formula Student YouTube channel has been commenting on the stream, and they're all a little embarrassed by Sandeep's absolute love for Theo. Elsewhere, Bolton Racing beanies are super cool, says Rory McLaughlin. Elsewhere, there's a lot of support for the Exeter team, X-Racing, TJ McErlin. I've butchered the pronunciation of that, I can only apologise, but they're supporting Exeter, as is someone. There was someone else who was supporting Exeter, and I've lost the comment, but I saw it as well, so don't panic. So there's plenty more to come. As Monty's been saying, it's going to be a very dramatic race this evening. And I do want to geek because there's not a lot separating some of the drivers tonight, because both of them a lot of the teams are running RSRs, the 73 and the 74 version. So 74 has got 0.2 more litres in that engine, but as a result, it is heavier. It's also got a bigger rear wing. The 73 version that some of the teams are running is therefore lighter and has a smaller rear wing. I believe it's Stavanger that are running the 73 car to look out for. And I'm going to say something controversial, but the rear wings on these cars are not going to have a great deal of impact as far as I'm concerned, and they are probably there more so for aesthetics. I don't see these cars getting up to the speeds where these rear wings are going to actually impact the downforce. And I might sound like I'm talking about the actual Formula Student competition. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm giving a hint to the teams about where to put their focus. But suffice to say, it's more so that myself and Jess will be able to pick out who's got a 73 and who's got a 74. In terms of actual pace and downforce, I'd be interested to see how much of an effect that different sized rear wing between the 2 years of the RSR comes into effect.
Yeah, comments like that as well, Giles. I can also see why British Leyland died a horrible and long painful death, but never mind. I jest, but no, it's going to be interesting. You're quite right. So for context, guys, these are classic cars tonight. I know we're going on about them being GTs, but they're definitely not like the GTs we're expecting to see at Abu Dhabi and stuff. These are old school Ferraris, De Tomasos, Ford Capris, the lot, and unsurprisingly, all of them went for the Porsches at a time where aerodynamics were in their infancy. I would give you that as their primitive aerodynamics, how much of a difference is it going to make, especially as they're going to be skitting around in the wet conditions? Who knows? They're still going to look pretty, they're all going to sound pretty, but yeah, as you're going to see tonight, guys, it really is a field of Porsches. So there's been a lot of testing though, like some of the teams were doing 700 laps of practice in the last couple of weeks on the practice servers preparing for this one tonight. So there's some dedicated people there, I can assure you.
Yeah, definitely.
And just to add as well, I was just looking at the entry list. I tell a lie from what I told you before we went online. There's actually 2 teams using the 1973 version of the Porsche 911 RSR with the smaller rear wing. Stavanger is the first one, and the University of Oxford is the other one. So keep an eye out for them with their skinny wings, guys.
Big shout out to the University of Oxford. They've been putting on socials for all the Formula Student teams, inviting them over to London.
Yes,
and just creating this fantastic Formula Student community. So hats off to the University of Oxford. and their Formula Student team for doing that. I would also like to clarify, I made a mistake. The version from 73 that is running in Assetto Corsa is also running the RSR 3-litre engine. So there is no difference in terms of literage between the two, but there is a difference, as Adam Watson has said. He says the 73 and 74 cars are miles different, and the pace is different. We will see shortly. We'll be going racing very, very soon. Meanwhile, Seb has said X Racing has the sexiest logo. All those other universities need to step up their graphic design game. And then Seb also did add as a counter to his own comment, oddly enough, but he did add, I mean, they may not have had a running car last year, but at least their logo was beautiful. Keep them coming. Keep us. I love this. The chat is half the entertainment.
Absolutely. There's some fantastic student banter in there tonight, guys. So keep it coming. Just as a heads up, I appreciate we said race 1 was coming at 7 o'clock. We are having a couple of server issues at the moment, so I'm just working with the team on Discord just to keep us going. I've just been advised we're at a plus 10 minute schedule, so I'm hoping that we'll be able to start picking up some pictures in the next couple of minutes. If not, well, then we're just going to have to find a plan B, but given that everyone's here to watch some racing, I don't know what that is yet, so failure is not an option.
No, it's
not. What might be an option is us filling, so do bear with us on that. Jess, out of the cars available tonight, not just the Porsches, but out of the whole set of GT cars available in this round, what would you have gone with as a sim racer yourself? What would you have selected?
Well, I think the Porsches look lovely. I would, if I was to go with the Porsches, I would go with the Porsche 906. But the one that struck me as something that's nice to drive, it may not give me wins. I really like the 1969 Corvette. It just looks absolutely beautiful to drive. So if I was to choose one of those, it'll be that. And I've looked at the documentation that come with it, and it just looks beautiful as well. But I think those two come to mind as well. And there were so many cars that the drivers and teams could have chose from. We have the 1975 BMW IMSA car, as I was saying, the 1969 Corvette, the 1972 De Tommaso Pantera. Apologies if I said that wrong.
De Tommaso. You got to bring out your inner Italian.
Talking of inner Italian.
I will. Sorry, Giles.
They've got the 365 GTB Ferrari Daytona from 73. And
I was about to say that.
Yeah, does that look good? So clearly, out of all of these various cars that they could have chosen, there's been a lot of engineering thought put into this, because everyone has come out with the same conclusion that the Porsches are the way to go. Talking of engineering, let's get into the engineering challenge results. Monty.
Yes, that's a good shout, Giles. So, guys, you were hearing us talk about the engineering challenges. So, those who've been watching the full racing season so far are probably wondering, how did Glasgow make up so much ground, given that they weren't even in the top 20 after round 1? Well, in addition to the points that they're earning in the races, they're also earning up to 50 points, so a race win worth of championship points in these engineering challenges that they are doing in between the rounds. There's going to be more details brought on in between race 1 and race 2. We've got a little video to show you about what the engineering challenge entails. But just so you guys can see, this is how the first challenge looked like. So not only did Glasgow finish second and get 96 points in race 2 at Brands Hatch last time out, but they also got an extra 50 points for winning the first of the engineering challenges. Now that was an interesting challenge. It was led by Williams eSports. We had to come on board to help us out with the design of this challenge, and basically the students had to go and create a driver's pack, basically like what a racing driver would do in their briefing before they go and do their actual race, just to understand more about the track, the corners, and engineering tips, how to set up the car, how to best approach things, shall we say. So they felt, the judges, that Glasgow had the best pack, with Southampton second, Bolton third, Dublin fourth, and UCL fifth. Now these judges are engineering professionals who have kindly given up their spare time to run these challenges on our behalf. So they're bringing us their knowledge. What the students are being graded against is, well, what the engineers know. So, this is industry standard things that they're being gauged against. Challenge 2 will be launched at midnight tonight. So straight after the races are done, the students will have a couple of weeks to go and identify what the conundrum is in this challenge. As I say, the video will give more explanation between race 1 and 2 as to what these challenges entail and how we create them. But we're really looking forward to challenge 2 and 3 because we have an engineer from Alpine F1 joining us and fronting these challenges for us. So we're making sure that not only is this a competition that the students are finding out who's the fastest driver, but obviously Formula Students is about the engineering, and well, let's be serious, eSports is a huge thing in the engineering world nowadays. So we want to make sure that the challenges that they're doing in their spare time is relevant, not only so they can apply these skills back into the Formula Student teams for when they're in Silverstone in July, but also relevant to, well, once they go into industry, once they have graduated in hopefully the not too distant future. Don't want to jinx anyone out there though.
Fingers crossed for everybody out there vying to get into the world of motorsport. It's a competitive field, but if you're doing Formula Student, you've put yourself in the best position. Talking of positions, we should be in a position to bring you images as soon as we can of the racing. Jeremiah Elliott saying, hurry up with the race already. We're doing our best. We are working on it. Elsewhere, there's been a lot of talk of the cars that we've got available. TJ McCurlin saying, I love a Daytona, dream car. Adam McKinley saying, I wish all the other cars were quicker or the Porsches were slower. Would have been cool to see a varied grid. I can't deny, I do agree there a little bit. Yeah. Elsewhere, Seb has just come in with a complete violation. Talk about trash talk. I don't even think I'm going to read that out, but that's a bit harsh there, Seb. Come on, let's keep things pleasant, shall we? Meanwhile, there was a comment earlier regarding the Jag, and I do want to talk about that a little bit because I have never seen a paint job like it, and it's brilliant. So those teams that failed to select a car and put their car selection into the stewards have drawn the short straw and have to drive in a very boxy-looking Jaguar, which has got a great deal of power, but somewhat of an inability to corner. And that's the... If you remember the old Top Gear challenges from back in the day, if you broke down, you had to drive in something terrible like a Citroen 2CV. This Jaguar is essentially the equivalent of that, and it's been given a rather nice paint job by Monty.
It does look beautiful. It is very meme-worthy. Unfortunately, I haven't got any images of it at the moment. I'm hoping we have someone on the server that will be live streaming with the Skin of Shame, as we are dubbing it for tonight, because we would like to show this to you guys. I've just been given confirmation, by the way, that, oh dear, that's some very aggressive music going on there. I think we need less of that. Thank you. Let's go for...
Sounds like my radio show.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Okay, that's better. That's got less aggressive rock.
Oh, that's lovely.
That's much nicer, isn't it? Yeah, so I've just been given confirmation that the servers are going live at 7:15. No, 7:15. There we are. So literally
1 minute.
In 60 seconds, guys. We are going to have the servers launched, and I will be able to get us logged in and have a look at what the drivers are doing. So it's going to be a 5-minute warm-up for the drivers just to acclimatise themselves. And then we go straight into race 1 from there.
The conversation about the Jag on the chat is just brilliant. Adam Watson would like to remind us that if you drive the Jag sideways, it does corner. There's been people saying, don't disrespect the Jag. Love this from Salvatore. But it's fine because they have a Jag. Yes, exactly. Yes. Love that from Salvatore.
Making the best of a bad situation.
Jeremiah, you're going to have to be quick with that grilled cheese because the race is about to start. So stand by for action. Martin is saying, come on, Exeter. Jeremiah and Alex, we are with you. I think Seb wants a grilled cheese sandwich as well. Can I have a grilled cheese sandwich? I'm done.
Yeah, can I as well, please?
I mean, I'm lactose intolerant, but I'll go with it for tonight. Just the way that this evening's going. Yeah, go and put me down for grilled cheese, please.
Currently 89 watching on the stream. Invite your mums, invite your dads, invite your girlfriends. If you've got one, it's Formula Student. You probably don't. But anyway, let's try and get the stream over 100 tonight. Invite anyone who is not doing anything. And let's be honest with you, there's a cost of living crisis and it's a Saturday night. What else are you doing? Watching Dancing on Ice? I think not. Anyway, we should be able to bring you pictures from the track for you for round 3 in the practice server as things stand.
There we go.
See that? There's the rear wing that we were talking about.
Now, who's that we're looking at? No, we're not. That's the TV car. That's me. That's the TV car there, which is in the BMW. So we're going to ignore that one for now,
Has got
Giles.
a rear wing, but not the sort of rear wing that we're spoken about.
Oh,
There's
that
the rear
looks
wing we're supposed to be
beautiful.
speaking about. University of Glasgow Racing in the 1974 Porsche RSR. Looking rather hot there in bright yellow.
And you probably noticed something, Giles, about the weather.
Yes, it's looking rather Welsh.
Yes, it is sunny on our screen, but it's also raining. So that's what the
It's
drivers
light
have got
drizzle.
to... Yeah, it is a light drizzle. That's what the teams have got to contend with tonight. They have been told about the weather in advance to tonight as well for the first 3 rounds, so they are aware of what's happening currently. So they have got 3 minutes just to get a feel for it currently as well. I can't remember where the qualifying results were. It'll be a good chance to give us a rough idea as who got pole in the qualifying, and will be in server 1. I believe it might.
Don't worry, Jess. We'll find out in 2 minutes once this warm-up's done anyway.
Oh,
they will
perfect,
form up.
perfect.
We've got a couple of minutes before the lights go green anyway, so we
I
can run
can't
through the
wait
whole
anymore.
grid if you want.
Yeah, I want to know. But like me, we're gonna have to wait. Now, as you can see, they do carve the S's as they head towards the straight, which is the only difference as you head towards now turn number 1. This is absolutely beautiful circuit, and this is going to remind me of the 1993 European Grand Prix with Ayrton Senna. And I know I wasn't born in 1993, but I still watch that race like an absolute passion currently as well. So you can
It's
see,
fantastic.
yeah, it is brilliant.
Honestly, not only is it a masterclass of driving, because Senna behind the wheel isn't human. In the opening lap of the 1993 European Grand Prix at Donington, if you haven't seen it, Senna passes huge names in motorsport. Schumacher, Hill, Prost. He passes them like a knife through butter. It's unreal, all in one lap. He isn't human. He is a god behind the wheel. And then in the commentary box, you've got my favourite commentary pairing in motorsport ever, Murray Walker and James Hunt. And it's just a pleasure to just go back and watch. I mean, I think, Jess, you said to me earlier on when we were off air that you had a VHS copy of it. And you can also watch it on YouTube. It's just something to behold as races go.
VHS tapes are honestly the best. We got rid of them now, obviously, but I remember I used to record races like from the early 2000s on there as well. I remember my mum and dad recorded the 1997 Hungarian Grand Prix. We were watching that on repeat, and the only downside to that was Damon Hill on the last lap had hydraulic issues and he missed out on the win on the Arrows, which was absolutely gutting. But yeah, VHSs, I miss them at the end of the day, but that was the life back in the 90s and 2000s, but you can watch on YouTube now. That's the luxury of modern technology currently. You can watch our races back at your own leisure, and Donington is definitely one of them as well. I think Brazil, one of the years, Brazil, his home Grand Prix, I think Senna did very well, and quite a few of them as well. So that was Senna's just a great driver overall, a legend, and these are legendary cars as well. So that's a good segue, as it were.
They are indeed. Hopefully we'll be able to bring you the lineup on the grid. I think Jess may have to talk you through the grid because unfortunately, for whatever reason, the graphics I'm getting through have got the about 8-bit quality.
Same. It's not just you, Giles. It's not just you.
We'll be able to bring you something, but at the moment it does look like it's coming to you from the 1980s on our screens. Hopefully for you, the quality will be a bit better, but for myself and Jess, it is currently giving the Super Mario Brothers circa 1980 something. That's a lot better. Nicely done there, Monty. There we go. That was gorgeous. It worked for a split second.
It worked for a second, and then it was like, no, not having that.
We'll be able to bring you live coverage very shortly. Apparently, the grilled cheese is in, according to Jeremiah. Jeremiah, what are your coordinates? Said Seb. I would love to know myself. The grilled cheese sandwich does sound fairly good. It sounds better than the cold.
Apparently it's yummy, the grilled cheese. So that is
well,
good.
One would expect so. The question is, how have you done the grilled cheese? Are you doing that on the grill, or are you doing it in like a toasty maker or something?
Oh, that is interesting. That is what I like to know in the future too.
Monty, that is looking rather good. Oh, now it's gone again. Someone's sliding around in the pit lane there, having a bit of a whip round.
Like 360-degree spins. Yeah, 360-degree spins, it looks like. And some people were doing a lot of lawn mowing during our practice. So that was interesting, to say the least.
But,
now, with the teams having to negotiate the wet conditions, that means they need a bit more aero compared to what they're running in the dry. And I think that's probably one of the considerations coming into the race tonight, because obviously the more wet it is, the more aero and downforce you would need on these cars.
So the thing is, the wets are faster. The wet tyres are faster than the slicks, but the trouble is it's not wet enough really to be running the wet tyres, so they are going to go away quicker. So you can either be slower on the slicks but stay out longer, or you can be faster on the wets but make multiple stops. That is the strategy choice that the teams have got to make tonight. Jess, what would you go with?
I would go with somewhere where I can turn potentially, but there is a lot of straight. I think I have to say there's a lot of curves that the drivers have to negotiate, and the only straight mainly is turn one. So I would go for a setup which has a bit more aero, but I'm not an engineer at the end of the day. The teams have more engineering knowledge than we do. So yeah, there we go.
Well, exactly. So do bear with us. It looks set to be a fantastic evening of racing. Get your predictions into the chat, please. Jeremiah has dropped his coordinates if you fancy a grilled cheese sandwich. Keep your messages
it's making me
How
hungry.
do you like your
I haven't
grilled
had
cheese
food
sandwich
yet.
done? Jess hasn't eaten yet. I have, so I'm just quite enjoying this conversation. So, we're in round 3. We've got 2 races coming up tonight. Oh, wow. Jeremiah's dropped us his recipe for his grilled cheese sandwich, and he says 2 slices of M&S San Francisco sourdough. Wow.
Wow.
I thought students were living out hand to mouth these days. San Francisco sourdough from M&S. On a student budget, you surprise me, Jeremiah. And a thick slice of mature cheddar cheese. Can't disagree. It's the maturer the better, the cheddar cheese. Apply butter to a hot stainless steel pan and toast the bread. Then add the cheese and close the sandwich. That does go very hard. Very hard. Seb says the M&S sourdough is the best. He didn't know that Jeremiah had such class. I didn't know students had such class. I didn't know. But Martin has suggested that Jeremiah needs to focus. You might have recognized that we are just about to go racing. You should be able to see on your screens there the cars lined up on the grid. We would love to be able to tell you who's in what position, but unfortunately we don't have access to the tower.
It's Southampton. It's Southampton that is on pole, the number 2.
Southampton in pole. Okay, Jess, do you reckon you could take us through the rest of the grid?
If the live timings website is correct, I will try go for it. So we've got Southampton on pole. We've got Bolton in P2, Salford in 3rd, Cardiff in 4th, Hull A in 5th, Glasgow in 6th. So obviously with them not running their Joker, that's cost them a little bit. QBEL in P7, and I can't remember off the top of my head what that team is. If someone could double check for me, that would be great. Now in P8 we've got the University of Portsmouth Alternative Fuel. In 9th is University of College Dublin. In 10th we've got Vigo. In 11th, hold on a second, I will have to get the I think it's Birmingham. I'm sure it's Birmingham, but I might be wrong. Number 12 it's Exeter. 13th is I think it's Aberdeen. 14th is 44. Live double checking to see what that was. That is Nottingham. Nottingham Trent.
Jess.
We're about to go racing, so I'll hand it over to you, Giles.
Southampton on pole. They are not running their Joker. Over the moon with that first position. What can they do here with these cars that are a lot lighter than them off the line? not long now until we find out. We're about to go lights out for the first race at Donington. Round 3 of the Formula Student Sim Racing Series 2023-2024. All to play for. Let's go racing once again for the first time tonight. Get your predictions into the chat. Who do you think is going to win? Here we go then. We've got one light. Eventually, it's going to come. I hope. There we go. 1 light, 2 light, 3 light, 4 light, 5 light, 6 lights. We're about to go racing at Donington. The engine revs are up and they are off. And Southampton have got away very nicely indeed. Looking to the outside, it's the 3rd place car on the grass, trying to go on the inside of Southampton. And they've got the jump on them. A fantastic move by car number 3 in black. I don't know who it is. We haven't got the timing tower available. But there's three abreast through the 2nd corner. And Southampton have been swamped. On the inside goes Southampton, clinging on to 2nd place, but the yellow car there has got a better line and is up into 1st. The 3rd place car up in the front runners as well. It's a fantastic start for these teams who are going to be vying for top 3 positions.
It's nice to see the likes of Vigo in this session as well. It's really nice to see that they qualify for the top server this time. I'm getting reports of a bit of contact from some teams. We've got the number 40 team that's dropped back a little bit, and then the 44 team has dropped off a bit as well. And I do believe it is, according to the live timings, it is Bolton that is leading from Southampton. Those are the 2 close things coming up. And there we got Salford and University of Portsmouth Alternative Fuel going side by side in the background, and they're trading positions as we speak, as we head to the start-finish straight. And Bolton is doing a great job out front with the fastest few sectors so far, and it looks like Alternative Fuel just about managed to hold on. And look at how the top 2 are pulling away from the rest of the field, Giles, and Southampton was almost going to make a move there, but couldn't quite make it stick to the outside, almost getting on the grass there, but that was very, very tight between the 2 of them. Oh, Glasgow's had a crash. Oh, no.
Glasgow are off then.
Oh, we got information at the bottom of the screen of the teams, but it's still blurry on our end.
University of Portsmouth Alternative Fuel are in 3rd then. In 4th, it's Salford for you. Looking.
No, it's not Salford anymore. It's not Salford anymore. It's Alternative Fuel. Oh no, they have switched positions again. Oh, someone's gone off. That's Alternative Fuel.
The Alternative Racing Fuel team, they've gone away, and Salford are up into the top 3. Bolton and Southampton running away from the rest of the field to battle it out for that top post on the podium. And Portsmouth Racing Alternative Fuel under pressure from one of the 906s as the sun beams down on the slightly damp Donington. Can the Alternative Fuel team hold off their pursuers from all the way back in the 1960s? University Row of Trinity St David there in white, filling up the mirrors of Salford, who will be desperate to get away and get back to the positions they were in. Locking up there, it's a battle then between these drivers.
And I've sent the timings over to you, Giles, so you get a bit of an idea as to where people are, because at the moment, without looking at the timings that we've got, we have no clue where people are currently, but they're all so bunched together. It's amazing to see, and you can tell which of the Porsches are doing well and then which ones are falling by the wayside. And I think we've got obviously the 74s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pretty much all the 74s are near the front currently, and then the next Porsche you can see is the 906 in 15th place. That's Trinity St David in 15th spot. No Jaguars in this lobby, they're in the other lobby. And we've got Cardiff that's had a bit of an off once again in the background, so they've dropped down a few positions once again. And it looks like there's some more battles happening in the midfield as they head towards the start-finish straight once more. We bear with us, guys. It's hard to see with us at the moment. You can see it. Someone has moved positions, I believe. If I'm not, that was Vigo. I was about to say it, but I was worried if I was wrong. So Vigo has moved positions. I'm just trying to see where they are. They're in 14th at the moment.
An absolute masterclass then from Bolton, who have gone away. They've started in 2nd. They've pulled out a lead on the 1st place car, Southampton. Those 2 teams flying off into the distance. In third, it's Salford. And in fourth, behind them, the Hull A team. Queen's Belfast, I believe, are in fifth.
Oh, that was what it was. Thank you, Giles.
Cardiff in sixth. University College Dublin in seventh. Queen Mary, formerly student, in eighth there. DMU, De Montfort, are in ninth. Shockingly, Glasgow down in 10th. Very surprised to see that. In 11th, we've got University Bath Racing. MTU. I should know this, but I don't.
That
But they're in 12th.
that is Munster,
Munster,
I believe. I think. I might be wrong.
Portsmouth Racing Alternative Fuel, after a bit of a disaster, have clawed their way up into 12th. As we've been talking about Munster, they've overtaken Munster, so they are up into 12th. Victoria in 14th. University of Wales Trinity St David in one of the first 906s of the field. They're in 15th. In 16th is Exeter. 17th is Sheffield. NTU in 18th. Vigo. They are in this server, but they're down in 19th. Aberdeen rounding out the top 20 with their 906. They're back down in 20th position. You can see there we're on board with car number 8. That is Queen Mary, formerly student, I believe.
Yeah, that is
You
correct.
see there the
Queen
cars
Mary.
have Constantina by this point in the midfield, all following each other's racing line, keeping enough distance to avoid any dramatic contact should they come together. But there's not a lot separating a lot of these drivers. The vast majority of the field have really quite bunched up. It is only your first two cars, Bolton and Southampton, that are streaking away. As you can see here, getting a little bit close there to the rear bumper of the car in front. That is College Dublin in front of Queen Mary, formerly student. You're on board with them right now with the digital GIMP behind the wheel virtually. And suffice to say, you can see it there in that wide shot. There's not a lot separating these cars. They've all gone for, that's a little bit close if I were them. This is the trouble with these cars Constantina-ing the way they are. There's not a lot separating their pace, and they've all seemed to have gone on the same tyre selection as well. I don't believe anyone's gone into the pitch just yet. You can see the rain coming down on your screens there. Formerly Queen's Mary, formerly student, looking to the outside, trying to get away from Queen's Belfast. Two orange cars, two queens of the track, wheel to wheel then, live from Donington, virtually in the damp, and not a lot separating these cars. One mistake, not only is it going to spell disaster for the car that makes the mistake, but quite possibly all the other cars, and Bolton's gone off and Glasgow have gone off as well. As I was just saying, talk about the commentators' cars, and it is a hair's width between success and failure in this race. Just clipping onto the grass there, looking for the best viewpoint. You're on board with Vigo there. There is car number 5.
It is Trinity St David. And you can see there's not much grip between these cars in terms of the weather conditions currently. 18 degrees out there on track, which is a lot cooler compared to the tracks that we were visiting earlier on in the season. Of course, we were at Brazil round 1, Brands Hatch Indy in round 2. Vigo has had another incident at the back as well, so their poor showing is going to cost them some points, which could make a huge difference in terms of the championship. They're in 19th spot, Giles.
We're really not seeing the pace that we saw early on in the season from Vigo, and if they keep this up, they are really going to just drop out of contention for any major placings at the end of the season. There we've got Victoria, car number 14, all the way from España, from Spain, looking fairly tight and tidy. They're out of any worry, really. They haven't got any pressure from behind. Not to worry about any car in front making a massive mistake, but chasing down that 13th position and just riding on the apex there. Meanwhile, there is a number of various different cars flashing through the grid there up to car number 3. It is Salford chasing down that top 2, Bolton and Southampton, who've just gone away from the rest of the pack. And you can see here how much the rest of the field is so in contention. It's all to play for throughout the rest of this race. We've got about halfway through the runtime of this race. Bear in mind, we do it in terms of time rather than laps. And it's this wheel to wheel between the two queens, Queen Mary and Queens of... Oh, it's Cardiff there. There's so many orange Porsches, you do get confused, and that looks almost like contact, but it wasn't. Just about. Cardiff trying to find a way round car number 5. Trying to get through there. Can they manage it is the question. No room just yet. I would say it's a question of outbraking the car in front, getting very close there, looking to the inside. The car ahead, taking the apex as much as possible, taking a slightly slower line in the hope of getting a better position to go round. Not quite making it work. Cardiff vying for a top 5 position. Instinct at the moment. You've got Queen's Belfast ahead of them. Cardiff desperate to get past. A lot of orange on your screens at the moment, making it our job very difficult. You can see University College Dublin behind them in 7th, vulturing the drama up ahead, just waiting for one team to take the other out and then sweep on through and claim 2 places is what I'd be doing in that situation, just hanging back. I imagine that Queen's College Dublin have got that pace and going through on the inside there. That looks rather impressive.
Oh, that was a bit of a bump. That was a bit of a bump, Giles.
Yeah, that apex is just kicking them up.
Queen Mary trying to go for the move on University of Portsmouth Alternative Fuel, heading towards turn number 1 of Redgate to the inside. I think we got another car that's quite tucked in as well. I think that's Glasgow trying to have a piece of the action as they go free winding towards turn 2 and 3. That is Hollywood and the Grand Cognac curves as well, heading towards the old very shortly.
Ooh,
almost onto the grass there from Glasgow.
That is a very interesting line. All 3 drivers on wet. This is the battle for 8th between University College, Queen Mary Formula Student, University of Glasgow, and then Portsmouth Racing Alternative Fuel. Glasgow just not quite in the mix as Queen Mary put the pressure on Portsmouth Alternative, and Portsmouth Alternative go well wide, and through goes Queen Mary and Glasgow. They're side by side of Queen Mary and University of Glasgow, and then of course Glasgow coming through as well, taking them to the inside. Can they make it work to abreast? Can they get through? No, they can't. But it looks to me like Alternative Fuel have just managed to hold on to their position, and Glasgow snuck on through past Queen Mary in the confusion. They're up ahead. Well done from University of Glasgow, who are now into the top 10. They're in 9th position there. And is that Nev Cohen behind the wheel?
That is Cohen in behind the wheel in the University of Glasgow car. And we got some pit stops, Giles. Queen Mary, number 51, is coming in. They just missed their pit box. They overshot in the pit lane, which is not ideal.
That is going to cost them some time, and that is going to make a world of difference to the overall result as we end here. So we have got the drivers coming in to change their wets, as we'd expect. University College Dublin away then. Where are they going to come out? 15th, 16th, as I have it on my screen. Vigo in the pits as well.
Yeah, they're down in the background.
Out in 15th.
Yeah, 15th, and they've got Queen Mary, who I believe has pitted as well. So we've got University College Dublin, Queen's Mary, Exeter, Nottingham Trent University, and Vigo are the ones who have made their first stops. I won't be surprised to see the front lot pit maybe later than everybody else.
It's quite interesting, though, if you look on, as you were seeing just now, though, Salford seems to have caught up to within, vision of Southampton. They can see Southampton now, and there's Portsmouth Racing Alternative Fuel flying into the pits.
Don't overshoot it, please. There we go. That was good timing there from that team.
Well spotted there. So they're in the pits now as well. The drivers, most of them, have chosen the wets, and coming in now is car number 12. That is not car number 12, that's car number 42, Giles. Yeah, in 12th position, I apologise, but what was that? That was DMU, De Montfort are in, and Portsmouth Racing
Alternative Fuel. Oh, it's De Montfort, not Munster. I apologise.
Portsmouth Racing Alternative Fuel back on a new set of wets as far as I can tell. So the wet does seem to be the choice of tyre for these drivers. Looking a bit sideways were UCD for a moment there.
Good to keep in mind, Giles, about the lap times that the ones who have pitted will produce as well. So we'll keep an eye on what the difference are in a minute. But we've got Bolton, who's in the pit lane, so they've pulled the trigger first, and we're going to see Salford in as well. Southampton has stayed out and are going for the overcut.
How is that going to play out for the team that started on pole lost out to Bolton in the moment off the
Glasgow
line.
have gone off with Belfast.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Today really isn't Glasgow's day. It does seem to be a very mixed season for Glasgow then. They didn't do particularly well in the opening round. Came back incredibly strong in the second, but they're without their joker here, and they do seem to be struggling somewhat. They are up into second at the moment, but bear in mind they have pitted. The front runners have only just got onto new rubber, so you would expect the grid to shuffle around. It will resettle shortly, and can Glasgow hold on to that second place? I'll be interested to see where we stand come the checkered flag.
And of course, at midnight, they've got the engineering challenge to deal with as well. And we know how Glasgow is good in that, so they can't just rely on that, even though it's worth the same points as a Server 1 win. They've got to rely on other things too, especially these races, because this season has gone by so quickly, and we've got,
really
I
has.
believe, someone going out of the pit lane. What was it? Salford was in Hole 8 has gone in as well. College Dublin have gone in. Cardiff have gone into the pits as well, so they've done one lap. So still about 4 teams that have yet to stop. That is Southampton, Queen's Belfast. I believe that's Queen's Belfast coming into the pits. Yes, it is. And they've timed that perfectly as well.
Getting comments on the stream about NTU running out of fuel. I don't know whether someone can confirm that for us, but that would be interesting.
That's hard to tell with the live time. That's hard to tell with the live timings. It's only so
Just
much we can look. Yeah. There's only so much we can look at the live timings, I'm afraid.
Confirm that for us. The 806 does just look so much better than everything else on the grid there. I won't lie.
Oh,
going
that's
very,
where
very,
we
very
go,
wide.
I think.
That's it. I mean, that's just mowing the lawn. Forget about a racing line. That's just taking Percy the Park Keeper's job away from him. And there is University of Glasgow currently holding on to that second place. Nev Cohen behind the wheel. Wet tyres on. Fresher than the others. Fairly so. Bear in mind the front runners, Bolton, Southampton and Salford, have recently put on fresh rubber. Bolton down in 4th, Salford in 5th. I'd be interested to know where Southampton have ended up in all of this.
Southampton's gone into the pits, Giles. Actually, that was a good segue. Southampton have gone into the pits, and they're one of the last few people to do their stops. Will that trigger stop for Glasgow, who's still yet to stop as well? Those will be the only two. So let's keep an eye on Bolton to see how much of a gap, because the undercut could be powerful. Would it be the overcut? So there's Glasgow that's coming out in the lead.
In fairness to Glasgow, they may have been off a few times, but even with very old tyres, they are still
doing
lapping
well
consistently compared to a lot of the other teams. They're there on a 1:17. There are teams that are not too far behind them that are lapping 4-3 seconds slower, and they're on fresher rubber. So potentially, Glasgow have made the right call by sticking Neff behind the wheel and holding on for a pit stop.
I know why Vigo is struggling. Someone has put in the chat that Vigo does not. The driver that's driving in that car at the moment doesn't have any force feedback.
Oh dear.
And I've driven with no force feedback once when some of the games are having issues, and it's not nice. You can't feel them when you're losing grip, and you're not getting that much power either, so it's not ideal. And NTU ran out of fuel also. They're rolled into the pits with no fuel. That's a shame for those two teams. So yeah, that is why Vigo is struggling. A bit of a shame for the team that won the opening round in Interlagos. I believe that's Glasgow in.
Yes, Glasgow in the pits then. Bolton up into 1st. Southampton in 2nd. Glasgow currently in 3rd. Salford have just gone through. They're now in 3rd. Glasgow down to 4th. This will make the difference. This will be how many places Glasgow have to make up to secure a podium finish. They're heading back out onto the pit lane now. 5th position currently. Queen's Belfast go through. College Dublin possibly going through as well as ahead of Glasgow. And that puts Glasgow down the running order. Glasgow down in 8th, having been in 1st prior to that pit stop. But remember, their rubber is brand spanking new. They've got a heck of a lot of grip with these wet tyres on. It's a really difficult decision to make. That weather just on the cusp, as we saw at Silverstone last year at FS during the acceleration run in the preliminary stages. It's just damp And it is a real question of, do we go wet? Do we go slick? Most of the drivers sticking with the wet tyres in this drizzle. They will go away quicker because it's not soaking wet enough to really warrant them. But already Glasgow making up a place and taking it on with University of Portsmouth Racing Alternative Fuel. They've made that look easy, going through on the inside. Portsmouth Racing Alternative Fuel, though, not having any of it. Going down the inside, trying to regain their position. They're side by side with last year's championship winners, but Glasgow are out accelerating them, going down that straight, headed towards the... Oh, that's a bit aggressive from Portsmouth as they send Glasgow out wide. And
they got into the bum.
The stewards will be contacted about that one.
Yeah, I think they will. We got side-by-side action in towards turn number 1 with the 2 orange cars, which Queen Belfast being one of them. The number 7 that we got College Dublin.
So it is a tale of the Irish battling out for a top 5 position, 5th and 6th. This is the battle for, and it looks to me like Belfast are all over Dublin's arse.
Yeah, and it's great to see a rivalry between the 2 Irish teams. We had that, I think, a bit last season with the Scottish teams as well, and it's nice to see the camaraderie between all of them as well. Don't forget, University of College Dublin, this is, I believe, their first season in the sim racing series, and they've done well in the previous 3 rounds too, getting into server 1. This is the first season where we had multiple servers. That is due to the amount of teams that have signed up for FSUK Sim Racing Series 2023-2024. Fastest third sector belongs to Bolton right now. So, and we're still going side by side again.
Look at that.
Look at the
Belfast
power.
Gone straight through, jumping over the apex there. They are the only team running slicks. So this is a really interesting battle because we can get to see the different styles of driving that result from the choice of tarmac. And there is Portsmouth Alternative Fuel. They've got back ahead of Glasgow whilst we've been focusing on the Irish. Glasgow coming in to potentially vulture these 3 positions because bear in mind, you've got Portsmouth Racing Alternative Fuel in 7th, College Dublin in 6th, Belfast in 5th. Those 3 cars, not a lot separating them. And then lurking behind is Nev behind the wheel of the Glaswegian car in 8th. If any of these 3 cars make a mistake, Glasgow can just sweep through and take a full 3 positions. They're not waiting for that. Nev going side by side then and going straight through past College Dublin.
Oh, they have a contact. They got to spin.
Oh, that is College Dublin away. Cardiff going through past them to take that 9th position off of College Dublin. 8th position, I should say, off of College Dublin. Up ahead, then Glasgow are now in 7th, Alternative Fuel in 6th, and in 5th it is Queen's Belfast. They've now separated themselves a bit. Glasgow going to have to make it work again past Alternative Fuel from Portsmouth. On board then with Nev Cohen behind the wheel of the Glaswegian car. Can he get close enough to make a move down the start finish straight into turn 1? Not close enough as I can tell here to make a move. Looking to the outside would be an interesting move round there. Sweeping to the inside, but just not close enough. Oh, and there go the other Irish team. Belfast off and through go Alternative Fuel and Glasgow. Glasgow then determined to make up for what was a rough start for them. Portsmouth Racing Alternative Fuel clinging on for dear life to 5th. They've got a mirror full of yellow car. They'll be punching themselves in a minute if they let Glasgow through. We're into the final throws of the race. Glasgow all up in Portsmouth's chuff. It's just a matter of time. Locking up a bit under pressure there are Portsmouth. Glasgow waiting for that mistake, waiting for an opportunity to just sweep on through. I would not want to be in that cockpit for the Portsmouth car, just looking in my mirrors and just seeing bright yellow everywhere, and you don't want to leave a gap open like that. Oh, this is going to be very close to the line. I can just see it happening. It's either going to be very, very clean or very, very messy. I can't see it being just middling. It won't be middling. It will be dramatic either way. And looking to the outside, looking to the inside, Glasgow desperately trying to find a way round the team from Portsmouth, going side by side down the start-finish straight into turn 1. Portsmouth have the racing line. Glasgow sweeping around the outside, trying to make a switch back onto the inside. Oh, nearly contact there. Was there contact? I couldn't quite tell. Looking to the inside there, but Portsmouth cut them off with some fantastic defensive driving. Mere centimetres at times between the bumper of the Portsmouth car and the bonnet of Glasgow, just like this, looking to the inside. Portsmouth clinging on to the apex for dear life, just diving real deep into that. They do come out of it better.
This is very tight between the two teams, and we've got 15 seconds before the race is over on time. But it will, I believe the lead is on the final lap currently. It's one car has gone off in the background. I know it's one of the orange cars, and I do believe the leader is on the final lap. So
can they cross the line? Or is this going to be it? Is it going to be a race to the line right here, right now, between Portsmouth and Glasgow?
One more lap, Giles, one more lap.
One more lap to make it count then. The battle for fifth. University of Portsmouth Racing Alternative Fuel and last year's championship winners, the University of Glasgow, battling it out for a top 5 finish. I imagine this is where the drama is. We're going to stick with this, I hope. There's the rest of the field. But here is the all-important battle for fifth. And Glasgow, all of a sudden, is it me? Have they just gone away?
Glasgow had a moment, Giles. Glasgow had a moment. University of Portsmouth Alternative Fuel was like, you know what? I will take advantage of that. I think they had a bit of a spin, or I wonder if they made contact.
Just gone through. That is really quite wild, because all of a sudden, University of Portsmouth Alternative Fuel are in fifth. And
and here comes Bolton.
Snuck on through into sixth.
Here comes Bolton, Giles, about to cross the line.
Crossing the line to take victory then, a drama-free race for them. They're winging their way across the track. Bolton take victory, followed by Southampton, who go into a full-on tank slapper. Rightfully so. They've done rather well there. In third, it's going to be Salford across the line. They've done very well indeed, keeping it drama-free. Hull 18 headed towards the checkered flag as well.
And I think we've seen Glasgow once again.
Suddenly Cardiff have snuck on through past Glasgow, who had a moment chasing down University Portsmouth Alternative Fuel. Portsmouth Racing Alternative Fuel come across the line to take fifth. In sixth, out of nowhere, it's Cardiff. And in seventh, it is University of Glasgow.
What a close finish at the end, but it was Bolton that really set the field alight, was dominating quite a bit. I think 4 seconds in the end between Bolton and Southampton, and so that's going to be huge in terms of the championship. Southampton are doing very well in the championship already, and sometimes if you've done well in previous races, you don't need to necessarily win to help you with that championship, and with them scoring a lot more compared to others, that's going to be huge for them.
That was an absolutely rapid race and rather intense for us here in the commentary box without the timing tower. We had to refer to the live timings. It took us a little while to adjust to it, but hopefully we were able to provide you somewhat comprehensive coverage. Thank you for your patience. From what I can gather on the chat, some teams are having drama and issues of their own. But there we are then. That is going to put the cat amongst the pigeons and throw things wide open, not only in this round, but the championship.
And they've still got another race to go, which is worth a similar amount of points. And it's time, and they'll be getting into qualifying in about 20 or so minutes' time, where their second driver will get to show what they're made of. And we could see different teams in Server 1 this time. Could we see the Jaguar maybe in Server 1? I don't know. It is a hard card to get to good grips with. Will we see Southampton and Bolton battle it again? I really do hope so. Glasgow, can they make amends after their poor race one? Can we see Vigo fix their force feedback issues? Hopefully it's not affecting their second driver. Plenty of redemption stories going into race 2.
It's going to be a real challenge for everyone involved. And talking of challenges, as we were talking about earlier, the engineering challenges are just as vital as the on-track racing in the sim racing series. So let's cut to a little bit of a VT for you about the engineering challenges. Roll VT.
For the 2023 Sim Race series, as well as the monthly races, we've added an engineering challenge that runs between the rounds. So as well as the drivers who are competing in the monthly races, it gives an opportunity for more of the team members to get involved within the Sim Race series, and it also allows us to dive much deeper into the engineering and the fundamental vehicle dynamics that the students, we want them to understand, both helping them perform better in the races during the series itself, but it's developing skills that they'll be able to go on and use in industry, whether that's in mainstream automotive or in racing itself on the race engineering side. James, do you want to explain a bit more about the different content we've had in the challenge this year?
Sure, absolutely. So each challenge has been set on a different theme. Essentially, we're going into this as if the students are having to deal with a client, a racing driver, or a race team, and the client is coming up to them saying the car is doing X, Y, Z. So for example, one of the challenges will be that the tyres aren't behaving as we would expect it to be. So one of the challenges would be based on tyre pressures, camber, and toe-in adjustments. One of the other challenges would be talking about gearing, downforce levels. So we're focusing on specific point on a car's behaviour and getting the students to look through the data to try and understand the actual vehicle dynamic characteristics of that car and understand how they can make the car go quicker. It's not necessarily about having the fastest lap time at the end, but it's about being able to provide the information and the data to the judges to show sound reasoning as to why you believe this is the correct solution to adjusting that handling ailment of the car. We've come to the final challenge now, which is we're opening up all the parameters. It's going to be at Spa-Francorchamps. We're focusing on that classic cliche which every engineer faces at Spa-Francorchamps. Do you create a car setup prioritising top speed, or do you focus on sector 2 and maximise the downforce and go slow on the straights? Looking forward to see what the students can come out with.
I'm James Tatham. I'm a former University of Portsmouth student. I competed in Formula Student for 7 years and I've been a design judge for the last 2 years at Formula Student UK, and I've been sim racing for 11 years. I'm a design engineer with previous experience in aerospace. Now I work for Kenwood designing kitchen machines. So,
James, we've been running the engineering challenges this year. You've essentially been leading the judging criteria on this and, for a better word, putting together the challenges in the sense of defining what it is we want the students to learn from this. So would you mind giving us a description of what it is we're looking for and kind of how the challenges were built?
So we created the engineering challenge to encourage the students to apply their engineering principles and practices into their sim racing. So the students are given a realistic brief, putting them in the position of a race engineer who has to engineer the car, varying the setup parameters in order to improve the lap time. So we've asked them to use the Motec software, which essentially is a data logging program within sim racing. So then they can analyze the car performance using actual engineering parameters and then applying that back into improving their lap time. So the judging is split into 4 categories: engineering approach, rationale, justification, and the lap time, which they set their time using the setup that they created. So the teams are asked to submit an A4 page, and that can effectively communicate the work that they've done to understand the car's characteristics and how they've improved the lap time by adjusting settings on the car, whether this is suspension, aerodynamics, tyres, or gears. This helps the student to improve their engineering communication skills, where being able to communicate complex data in a quick and efficient manner is a vital skill. It also helps develop their analysis skills, encouraging them to become more rounded engineers. And the engineering challenge scores go towards the Sim Racing Series championship points, so it helps the teams climb up the championship rankings.
What are we looking for? What are judges looking for in these challenges? How do the students submit the challenges for a start, and what is it we're looking for in these submissions?
So the students submit an A4 sheet of paper with a template that we set out that will then be split into the individual categories of engineering approach, rationale, and justification. And we really want to see that they take an iterative approach, looking at the data and using data-led decision-making to improve the lap time. The students may have to compromise on their setups, where, for example, if they're looking at aerodynamics, they can adjust their front and rear wings. Obviously, if you increase your wing angle, then it will impact your top speed. And if you decrease your wing angle, you'll have a higher top speed. So maybe in some corners you want more angle and other corners you don't want as much. So we want to see them analysing the car throughout the whole track and actually determining what's the best setup, what's the best compromise throughout that lap to get the best performance out of the car.
Right, but they've only got a single page to put all this information down in. So is there a magic way of being able to get this information relayed?
There's no magic way to present it. It's just like an elevator pitch. In engineering meetings, you don't have much time to actually convey your message across from all your engineering analysis. So this is a great example where students can learn these skills already, where they have to do an elevator pitch essentially to us, communicate that information. So we want to see lots of graphs, because a graph is a really good way of presenting a lot of data. And it's up to the students to be as creative as they can to think of how they can communicate that information as effectively as possible to us.
What good and what bad examples have you seen so far this year? Without naming and shaming, but what has really stood out to you as being a good example of someone submitting their work? What didn't appeal to you best? Why were they given a weaker score?
We start on the positives. So the teams that have submitted the best entries have just been very clever at the way that they're communicating their information. They've been really clear and concise, and you can look at it and literally within 10 seconds you can pick up exactly what they're trying to communicate to you. And I think that's the most important thing. The analysis that they're doing, some of the teams are going into a lot of detail, which is very impressive, but obviously if you can't communicate that information, then it doesn't actually come across very well. So the best teams have been the ones that have communicated the best information across to us, and we can clearly identify what they're trying to show us. And they're looking at every single parameter and they're really understanding the principles that they're applying. And it's not just guesswork, it is actually, applied theory into an engineering practice. So I think on the flip side of that, what you'll see is some of the teams that aren't as good maybe haven't done their homework and researched actually what the core principles are, what are the fundamentals that cause a car to understeer or oversteer. They really need to understand that, so then when they look at the data, they're looking at the right bit of data, and then when they're communicating that back to us, they're communicating it in a really efficient way. They've got a nice graph. Some of the worst teams, maybe they don't even have a graph to show us, and so we can't take anything from that. It's just a load of words, and that we can't just assume that their words are correct.
That's a very valid point you make there, and I think some of the feedback we've had from some of the judges this year is some of the submissions have been very word focused, and 1,000 words will speak 1,000 words. However, a graph, a chart can sometimes do those 1,000 words for you without iterating a single word. Exactly,
yeah. Actually being able to quickly glance at a graph, you can take so much more information from it than a big body of text. Especially as I'm dyslexic, it's not so easy to read. I think if it's just really to reiterate to the students how important this challenge actually is, it might look like a bit of extra work on the side, but really it's learning a lot of key skills that you need in industry. And those skills, once you're in the workplace, they'll take you further quicker, because you can already do something that it's very difficult. It's very difficult to communicate that data that you've collected and to churn that then into a result and communicate that effectively to your wider team. It's very important, and that will help you going through design reviews, going through all your stages in your engineering technical career.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, James.
That's all right. Thank you.
Racing Series 2023 and 2024. Race 1 is now complete, and we are here with Race 1 winner, University of Bolton, and the driver behind that car this evening for Race 1 was Austin Campbell. Hello, massive congratulations on your Race 1 victory. How does it feel?
Feels great, to be honest. difficult car to drive. Always wanting to try and kill you in the braking zones.
Yeah, it must have been obviously hard in the wet conditions. Tell us what was the decision in behind the downforce that you were running in the wet conditions with your car?
We just ran a modified baseline setup, but the conditions, despite showing as wet, weren't actually wet. It's full dry, but still run the wet tyres because they're faster.
That does make a lot of sense, actually. You had an interesting fight between yourself and Southampton at the start of the race. Obviously, Southampton was ahead of you. You were starting on the front row as well. You had a really good start. Talk us through the opening laps between yourself and Southampton.
Opening lap, really, because after lap 1 we just kind of settled into a rhythm and didn't really have any fighting. But I got a better launch on the start compared to them, which allowed me to get on the outside on the ideal line for exiting turn 1. Pulled past them, but they gave me a little bump in down the trainer curves into the old hairpin, but they let me back. They let me back on, so that's all good. But after that, it was just manage tyres, make it to the pit box, don't spin out.
And why did you choose the pit strategy when you did? Because, of course, Southampton pitted at a different time than you. Was it just to cover off them a little bit?
Not to cover off them. The tyres were just going off. As soon as we hit lap about 9, the rear tyres just went. We started losing about half a second, then a second a lap. So just box it in, fresh tyres for the rest of the race. So pit just after the halfway point.
Yeah, something to consider for race 2, guys, with the tyre there as well. I'll hand it over to the other 2 commentators for their thoughts and questions. Giles, I'll hand it over to you first. Any questions?
I mean, I'm just interested, as always, not in just the sim racing series, but I always like to take an opportunity when talking to the drivers from the various teams to ask how they're getting on with their cars ready for FS UK at Silverstone. How are Bolton getting on over there with the Blue Beast?
Progress is coming on nicely. Just getting things sorted with our new parts.
Is there anything in particular that we can look forward to seeing on your entry at FS UK 2024? Anything to keep our eyes peeled for?
Sorry, I can't tell you that.
Surprise, Giles!
I can't. I have a surprise. I've got far too little patience for that. Very much looking forward to seeing Bolton out on track. A really great car last year. Loved the livery, the gold alloys, and the blue bodywork, reminding me very much of the Subaru WRX era. Fantastic drive. Congratulations on that. Very best of luck in the next round, which we'll be going to fairly shortly. Monty, how are you getting on? Are you all good?
Yes, we're having a wonderful evening of it tonight, aren't we, guys? It's all technical difficulties. Thank you for your patience, everyone. I hope it's not proving to be too chaotic there. We are about 10 minutes away from the next race going. The second qualifying's done. The grid's all just being built. I've hopefully found a solution to the towers working. We will find out once we get live in about 10 minutes' time. I know we've got a special VT coming up soon, Jess, but just before you do, permission to ask a cheeky question to Mr. Campbell.
Of course, I was going to let you ask a question anyway, so go for it, Monty.
Oh, well, thank you very much. So, Mr. Campbell, my question is for Bolton. Third time lucky? 3 seasons, third time lucky we're going to go for the title this year?
Always go for the title, but it makes sense. Making our way up every year.
Well, I've got my fingers crossed for you guys for this one. This is your season, so it's definitely unpredictable at the moment, so congrats on the win. That was a great way to start. And it has ensured that we've had 5 races so far this season with 5 different universities winning. So I'll be intrigued to see if you guys can break the chain going into this second race of tonight.
Hopefully. Just keep it on the circuit.
Yes, well...
Sometimes easier said than done.
Yes, yeah, no, there is that, but no, there we go. But no, congratulations, Mr. Campbell, that was a thoroughly dominating win to watch out there tonight. Yeah, we've got about 10 minutes, I reckon, before the next race starts, so all the best for your teammate in his race. For the time being, just so we can start getting things ready for that next race, Jess, what have we got coming up next? It's been quite cold in the UK for the last few weeks, but we've got something which is a little bit warmer to help people up. Do you know what this video is by any chance?
Yes, I do. No, I was just checking my mic was not on mute, but it wasn't, which is great. It is a track where I've raced in just before this as well, and Giles is familiar with this one as well. It is, of course, Monte Carlo. We have a bit of information from Monaco, which happened earlier on last year, and a bit of information about that and what happened. Monty, well VT.
In the late 1800s, a small country between France and Italy was pretty strapped for cash, so they came up with a neat idea: make gambling legal. In no time at all, this idea had worked, and worked rather well, and soon the playboys and dilettantes needed something to spend their cash on. By the 1920s, the thing to spend your money on was a fast car. Some things never change, and it wasn't long before someone had the bright idea of racing them against each other. Thus the Grand Prix was born, but there was one rule: the race had to be in the country's borders. That's fine when you're France or Germany, or even England. Not so much when you have an area of 2.1 square kilometres. Not to be perturbed, the citizens of this little country came up with the biggest race on the planet, the Monaco Grand Prix. But what about the other 364 days of the year? Well, that's what I went to find out. We start, as ever, at the start-finish line, which, when precision-engineered single-seaters are belting down at over 200 kilometers an hour, looks pretty hairy, but when they're not, looks more like a zebra crossing. The pit lane isn't permanent and is taken down or put up in a matter of days. Pulling 4.8G, the drivers brake from flat out down into second gear for the near 90-degree right-hander that is Sander Voort, which, as you can see, plays host to a roundabout for the rest of the year. Then it's straight back on the power, reaching speeds of over 260 kilometers per hour up the Beau Rivage hill. Changing down, the drivers swing through the left turn of Massenet past the Monaco Opera House. It's a crucial corner to get right as it affects the entry onto the next turn through Casino Square. It's an iconic part of the course. So iconic, in fact, it was full of tourists and the best shot I could get was everyone's feet. Out of the exit at Casino Square, there's a lot to think about. The drivers have got to get back on the power, down the hill, whilst also ensuring to avoid the notorious bump in the road with a bit of right hand down. All in fourth gear, clocking over 200 kilometers per hour. Off the power and on the brakes for just over 2 seconds, pulling 4G as drivers turn into the right-hander of Mirabeau High. It's here in 2014 that Nico Rosberg had his controversial off in Q3 of qualifying, sealing himself pole and the win. It's slow then down towards the Grand Hotel hairpin, where space comes at a premium and the racing line is everything. At least during the race. The rest of the time, the hairpin is dwarfed by the Fairmont, and the biggest problem you'll have is taxis dropping off guests. Out of the hairpin, the course descends towards the harbour through the lower Mirabeau and onto Poitiers. It's here in 1988, Ayrton Senna, with a 55-second lead on Alain Prost, made an uncharacteristic mistake and ended up in the barrier. Out of Poitiers and through the sweeping right-hander that takes drivers into the iconic tunnel. Regardless of what era you prefer, there is no denying the sound of a Formula 1 engine at full chat through its hallowed walls is like nothing else. Most notably for me, however, was the savage change in lights from artificial to natural upon exit. Fairly blinding, and it was pretty noticeable on foot, let alone at over 200 kilometers an hour. Upon exiting the tunnel, the drivers are immediately faced with the new chicane, following a savage 4.7G deceleration out of the tunnel ready for it, down to 55 kilometers an hour. 2 high-speed changes in direction follow as drivers sweep left, hugging the harbour and keeping above 100 for the most part. If you can't take the heat, the swimming pool is on the other side for a quick dip. Not that anyone seemed to fancy it when I was there. Keeping close to the harbour, drivers thunder down towards the iconic last corner, La Rascasse, where in 2006, Michael Schumacher had an infamous off in qualifying that cost him pole with a back-of-the-grid start penalty. And if you were too busy trying to get around the final right-hander and you forgot where you were, the local VW garage on the corner is a lot different to my local dealer. And there it is, back on the power and across the line. A fast lap here can send you into racing immortality. A mistake can be pretty costly, in every sense. Yes, well, if I'd known that my summer holiday was going to be seen by this many people, I would have put more effort into it. But there we are. That was me quite literally walking the track of Monaco, minus the family arguments when I took a wrong turn, because I can't read a map to save my life. Put it this way, I was never going to be a rally driver, but nor was I going to be the co-driver either. But there it is. One of the most iconic Grand Prix circuits of all time, Monaco, from this summer. Talking of iconic circuits, we've got racing to come from Donington, seen some absolutely monumental wheel-to-wheel action over the years. We've had some brilliant stuff going on in race 1 of this round 3 of the Formula Student Sim Racing Series 2023-2024. If you're just joining us, I'm Giles Cosgrove, she's Jess Ball, and he is James Monty Montgomery. Thank you ever so much for being with us. We've seen Bolton take victory in race 1, and we'll be going towards race 2 very, very shortly. Keep us posted in the chat. Where are you watching from? Who are you supporting? Big shout out to Andy Farmer, who I believe is watching. And also, thank you ever so much to Salvatore, who thought that my sense of humour regarding the Monaco local VW garage was somewhat amusing. I do appreciate that, Salvatore. Not everyone gets my sense of humour, so I'm thoroughly thrilled about that. On your screens now are the results from race 1 in Server 1. Bolton taking victory, followed by Southampton, then Salford, Hull A in 4th. University Portsmouth Racing Alternative Fuel clinging on dramatically to 5th. Here are the results then from Server 2. In 1st place, we've got the York A team. FSTN in 2nd there. Staffordshire in 3rd. In 4th, it's the Hull B team. Liverpool John Moore in 5th. Oxford University in 6th. That is the University of Glasgow Racing B team in 7th. Poly U in 8th. USM in 9th. Manchester in 10th. Kingston in 11th. Stavanger in 12th. Bath in 13th.
In a
RBRT.
Jag.
Oh, yeah. Well, it would be Bath in a Jag, wouldn't it?
Jag.
To be fair, 13th in a Jag, that's not too bad. They're not last.
Yes.
They are in a Jag. In
Exactly,
13th,
yeah.
it would be right. In 14th, meanwhile, it's Red Robin from Hong Kong. University Portsmouth Racing Electric in 15th there in Server 2. And I believe, unless there's anything to scroll down past, but I believe that rounds us out for Server 2 of race 1. No, we got more. We've got one more, and it's HW, another
Harriet
team
Watt.
from Hong Kong,
Scott.
I believe. Harriet Watt.
Harriet Watt.
That is about as far as you can get from Hong Kong. It's Harriet Watt up in Scotland in 16th.
Yeah, Monty will probably be mad that you got that wrong, Giles.
My map reading skills coming in yet again. If I'd known I would be required to know this much about geography, I would have paid more attention at school. But there we are.
Exactly.
We're going racing again shortly in round 2. The tyre strategies becoming rather integral in the later stages. Glasgow going for the long haul on one set of wets. They were leading for a while. Fair play to Nev Cohen behind the wheel. They're not quite making it work in a big battle with Portsmouth Alternative Fuel for 5th, and then one mistake lets Cardiff through, and they're back down in 7th. Were Glasgow, according to Nev on the chat, he had a bit of lag, which would, I imagine, kind of makes sense given his previous success in this sim racing series. Bear in mind, Glasgow, last year's championship winners, not having the consistency so far in the on-track racing. They have come out on top of the engineering challenges, but bear in mind it is about consistency across the board, and we just haven't quite seen that winning streak that Glasgow showed so magnanimously last year. And I do think it goes to show how wide open the championship this is at the moment. As Monty was saying, we've had different race winners in every single race of each round so far.
Yeah, 5 different winners, which I have to say is pretty incredible, to tell you the truth. Alternative Fuel won the first one, Vigo won one, and of course we had Bolton just now as well, and Southampton and Glasgow did well in race 2 in Brands Hatch Indy, which was a very entertaining race actually, especially race 2. As I do believe that there's for a lot of drivers they're going through qualifying as we speak for race 2, and the reason why we're laughing is we can see what's on the left hand side of the drivers and teams that didn't get their cars to the stewards. That
Exactly.
is the Jaguar that they have to race at tonight, and it has James's lovely face. It has a picture of a cat. And I don't know who it is.
There's
on
a
the
meme,
left.
or there's a meme. There's
I don't read rules.
brilliant memes across this. Monty and Dane have been photoshopped into these.
Oh, it's Dane. Oh, right. I was wondering who that was.
So this is the classic
then
cat at dinner meme where we've got the angry lady going, Porsche! So the story behind this, guys, is that some of the teams had submitted their car choice but forgot to specify which Porsche. So I put back in the Discord channel a Google Translate where if a student says Porsche, we interpret that to mean Jaguar. So the meme here is the angry lady saying Porsche and the cat responding with Jaguar. And with
What's
that,
on the roof though?
this is a very good question.
Oh, I know that one. Wait, hold on. If you go up a bit.
I
Reading
want to see the text on this one.
reading the rule book, ignoring the rule book.
Oh, yes,
Oh
yes.
dear.
And there's a
You
few
don't get this in
teams.
Formula One.
You don't.
You don't get this in Formula
You
One.
And
don't.
there's a few
You're
teams
missing
that
out.
didn't. And there's a few teams that are running this tonight because they've been naughty universities and didn't tell us what Porsches they were running. We have 3 different Porsches, so how are we supposed to tell what they want to run if they just say Porsche?
To be quite honest with you, I think every Porsche dealership has been asking that question for the past 60 years because they've all been the same
Exactly.
near enough.
To be fair, we do always encourage the drivers. We remind them to always read the rules. It's the golden rule of Formula Student. Always read the rules. Our chief judge for the whole competition, Dan Jones, even has his own meme which says, make sure you read the rules, because 9 times out of 10, a student will ask a question and it's actually in the book already. I put my hands up. I'm very guilty of doing that as well, back in the day when I was a student as well. So we try and encourage people positively to read the
Same
rule
as
book
Giles.
by shaming them with a meme.
Same as
Back
Giles.
in the old days, James.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, back in the dark ages, were you able to control F it, or did you have to go through it with pieces of paper and a magnifying glass?
Back in my day, I had to use something called a memory.
A memory.
A
What's
memory.
that?
I don't know. I never used it, so I'll let you know once I've untapped its potential.
Wow.
Anyway, we've got some interesting news coming in from the stream. Salvatore, according to Chief Bentil Hutton, the Queen Mary Formula Student star driver, will be running it back for race 2. So Salvatore will be behind the wheel in race 2 for Queen Mary Formula Student. He's already built himself up a fair bit of a reputation within the sim racing circle. Looking forward to seeing what he can do. Qualifying currently underway on the second server. I think we can throw over to a look on the timing table at the moment. This is the Donington Park National Circuit. Bear in mind, not the International. Missing a few hairpins. Just talked you through it earlier on tonight. So, what do we think? Are we going to see a repeat of race 1? Will Bolton be yet again the winners, or will we see yet another different team taking the top spot, taking that top position on the podium in the second race of round 3? You might be able to tell we're stalling, but we look forward to be able to bring you the action when we can, so hang on tight. We'll get there as soon as we can. I'd rather not have to show you more pictures from my holidays, if I'm honest.
Don't worry, that's fine. I'll tell you what, I'll take the slack this time. So just as a heads up, guys, I have realised I've made an absolute monumental error with the admin team. And when I said to them 2020, I thought we were talking about when the race was going to be going live. Nope, that's when the qualifying has gone live. So we have got a probably about another 15-minute wait before we can actually get on with the second race. I'm going to have to put my hand up to this because I made it completely wrong. So I tell you what, as we've got a little bit more time to wait, here's what I propose. Let's all go make a cup of tea for those who want to hang around. Well, Giles, Jess, where are we off to in July for the finals?
Well, we're going to Silverstone, aren't we? The home of British Motorsport.
wait,
as we say
Well,
pretty much every
we
no.
are. But what about for sim racing? What about for sim racing, Giles?
We're going to Williams eSports, just like we were last year, and that is where all universities get a chance to race in the Williams eSports Centre with their lovely rigs. A big massive shout out to our sponsors and partner Williams eSports, because without them this wouldn't be possible, and that is going to happen in July, possibly during the week, same week as Formula Student. So keep an eye. It will be streamed on the Formula Student YouTube channel, so you'll get to see it live for your very eyes. And this will be my first time at Williams eSports, so I can't wait to cover it and go to the Williams eSports facilities myself. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can just July come already?
Absolutely, it really is a mega venue, actually, guys. So I'll tell you what, whilst we've got a bit of time to wait until the next race, I went there at the end of last year to do a little bit of a tour with one of their eSports chief engineers, who was actually one of the first students to win the Formula Student Sim Racing competition a couple of years ago with the University of Southampton. His name was Michael Preston, and he very kindly gave me a tour around the facility. So for Jess's benefit, and for everyone else that hasn't seen this wonderful facility that Williams has, shall we show it to them, guys?
Yeah, go on then.
All right. Monty, row your own VT.
Hey guys, welcome to the Williams Experience Centre, where we're going to be hosting the final round of this season's Formula Student Sim Racing Series in their eSports Centre. I'm joined with Michael Preston, the eSports Chief Engineer for Williams eSports, who's going to be showing us around the facilities. Shall we go? Yep, let's go.
So welcome to Grove, home of the Williams eSports Lounge. So here we have some of the simulators that the students are going to get to use for the final round of the Formula Student Sim Racing Series. We have the Williams eSports Edition Playseat Formula. We have a Fanatec direct drive steering wheel base and a Formula V2.5 rim. We also have load cell pedals and a 32-inch curved monitor. As you can see, there's 10 rigs here. We also have 10 rigs in the back room as well, so we can have up to 20 people racing in the same race at any given time. In the background, we also have our pro level sim rigs. So these are the sim rigs that our Williams eSports pro drivers would use if they're preparing for events or if they're taking part in events. So this year we've used those for taking part in the Le Mans 24-hour Le Mans Virtual Series. We've used iterations of those rigs for F1 eSports as well. And we also have a F1 style pit wall, which we use to provide a professional engineering capacity, which I will show you now. So here we have our F1 style pit wall. The first thing you'll notice is the abundance of screens that we have. It seems excessive, but as soon as you start adding onboard telemetry, timing, the screens quickly fill up, especially if you want to be watching the race as well. Like we have a replay from the Le Mans Virtual Series race here. This has capacity for 4 engineers to be working during the races. We also use this for running events in the eSports Lounge as well. So if we're running LAN events or corporate events, then this is somewhere that we can run those events from if we're running session lobbies or doing admin for that kind of stuff as well. On the screen we have Motec open at the moment, so that's a tool that we use to analyse telemetry. So this is something that most of the students in the Formula Student Sim Racing Series will have become accustomed to using throughout this year, because Motec natively has the ability to analyse data coming out of Assetto Corsa, the simulator. So that's where there's one real area of crossover between sim racing and real life, is that this is a tool that's used in professional level motorsport, and the students can be using it, getting data from their sim rig at home and learning everything that they'd ever need to do using this software at a racetrack. So here's one of our pro level rigs that our Williams eSports pro drivers would use. As you can tell, there's a bit of a step up in hardware between these and the corporate level simulators that we have over in the rest of the eSports Lounge. And the main differences from this are coming from much heavier braking pedals, the higher forces coming from the direct drive wheelbase, 3 screens, so that you can use your peripheral vision a lot more to see the cars around you. Also, the much stiffer chassis for the rig itself. That's necessary to cope with all the forces coming out of the steering wheel base and going through the braking pedal. So the Husingveld Ultimate pedals that we have on this rig are capable of going up to 120 kilos of braking force. So that's capable of matching any or the majority of real racing cars. So
a lot of force.
yeah, these are a really good tool for professional drivers as well, testing for real-world racing, as well as our drivers in their professional sim racing capacity.
This looks impressive. Dare I ask the cost?
Yeah, so the rig in its totality with the one PC included will put you back about just over 10,000 Great British pounds.
Worth every penny, I'm sure.
Yep, especially when you're looking for those marginal gains.
Absolutely. No, definitely. If it gives you an authentic experience of what you'd feel in the car on the real track, then no, definitely it's there with a purpose.
Ta-da! There you go. That's where we'll be heading to in July. What do you think of that, Jess?
Absolutely incredible, just the amount of stuff that they have generally, and they went into so much technical detail about how things work. It's just crazy that a team like that can have so much data behind them with their rigs, and it's not just they do lots of different games around it, and the amount of information they can hold about certain things, it's just incredible, and the students get to experience it in July 2024, and even though it seems like far away, it won't be that long before you know it.
No, exactly. So let's go through where we are and what we've got to come. We've already had round one at Interlagos. Winners there were Vigo, the shock of the championship so far. Round two at Brands Hatch, we saw a return of the usual front runners with Glasgow there in second. They also dominated in the engineering challenge, taking themselves relatively high in the running. And we've just had race two from round three of Donington. Going to go again for race two very shortly. And at midnight tonight, we'll have the second of the engineering challenges announced. We've also got round four to come in February. That is on the what is that? I can't read. That's like the 17th of February.
Yeah,
That
17th.
is the 17th.
17th of February will be round four. Round five on the 16th of March. Round six on the 13th of April. And then we'll go live for round seven from the Williams eSports HQ for you for the grand final of this year's sim racing series. You've just seen the facility the drivers will be able to get their teeth into. There, very exciting stuff.
Confirmed.
We will have a date for you ASAP. We imagine it will be in the same week as the main FS event. We'll get you those dates as soon as we can. On your screens right now, the standings at the end of round two last month, those will already be changing as a result of the first race of this round. How much more are they going to change? Time and the track will tell. It always does. Southampton in the lead at the end of the last round, followed by Bolton. Bolton have just taken victory in that race, so I imagine that's going to change. There's the other 20 teams in the top 40. You may not have seen all of them on your screens during the stream. We do run two servers. A lot of these will have been in server 2. Nonetheless, exciting racing. York actually won the race in server 2 for race 1 of this round. If you can keep up with all of this, congratulations. I know it might sound stupidly complex, but we will get there. And there are your other teams. We've got 53 teams in total, rounding out our competitors this year in the sim racing series. Bit disappointed to see University of Surrey there in 53rd with 0 points. I've got friends at University of Surrey in their Formula student team. Come on, guys.
10 teams are on 0 points, so could we get those teams on 0 points to be on some points by the end of the night? That will be great, because
It would be nice. But we could also have our own pointless round. Just write to the BBC. There you go. There's a round of pointless. Which teams didn't score any points in the sim racing series for Formula Student? A bit niche, but we'll take it.
I like the pointless game show. That's one of the game shows that I do like as well, with Armstrong hosting. But yeah, hopefully they can get on the point scoring at some point. They still got race 2 to do so. And
the complaint I've got about pointless is that the prize money's pitiful, and just why spend your day, taking your day out of your week when you're not earning.
But there's some people that are not earning that much that can appreciate that bit of money for a little bit.
I guess you could also
You're talking to one of them, Jess. You're talking to one of them.
I guess you could debate if more people paid their TV license, and the BBC would have more money to dish out for these prizes, wouldn't they?
Yeah, meanwhile, welcome to Question Time with Monty, Giles, and Jess. Forget Formula Student. We will now get into politics. And immediately the IMECI have panicked, pressed the red button, and we are off the air.
Exactly.
Yeah,
no.
Let's not talk about this anymore,
No,
please.
let's go back into geography. We go back into geography because I've just realised actually. So Jess's comment before about 0 points. Oxford are here tonight, so I'm quite hopeful that's going to get them off the mark tonight. So fingers crossed to them.
Yeah, it's their first race. It's their first round, isn't it?
Exactly. Yes,
believe.
but the other
They're excused.
Go on. Their excuse for not being in for the first two races. They've been partying too much. That's why, because they keep on inviting us to their socials. But I'm
Where
glad.
was our invite?
Well, I had one.
We didn't get a commentators booth. You got an invite.
I got an
commentators
invite.
Did.
Yeah.
Monty, you owe us money.
No, not at all. Not at
I
all.
don't know where you've got that from, Jess, but certainly Monty might at least put in a good word for us.
I did.
With Oxford University.
I
do have previous with them.
That's all right, so do I. But no, I put in a good word, so it's fine. Guys, I was just going to point out here, from a geographical point of view, just to show how international this championship is now, because I'm sure for many of our hardcore Brits here, they're probably looking at 50th position there. University of Canterbury, and going, Canterbury doesn't have a university. This would be the university. Well, go on, Jess. Where are they?
It's not Canterbury in England. Hold on. Go on, Monty, because I'm finding it hard to load up.
They're in the complete opposite end of the world. In fact, actually, it's probably already Sunday there. That is Canterbury in New Zealand, guys. We are truly an international series when you look at some of the names in here, because we range from New Zealand. We've got some from the Far East. I believe we have 3 teams from Hong Kong racing.
Yes.
We saw Princess Songler there as well. They're based in Thailand. We have France Polytechnic.
Norway.
We have Warsaw there as well. Yes, we have Norway as well. We've even got La Sonde, so from Canada on the other side. So literally west to east, we've got pretty much a university team in most of the continents now. We just need one in South America, and I believe we're there. Because obviously...
No South America.
This is
No South American representation.
No.
I mean, in fairness, we were supposed to have a North American team, but I don't believe they've showed up, have they?
Not tonight, but La Sonde are normally in, aren't they? Our Canadian counterparts, so...
Yes,
yeah.
I do love La Sonde.
But-
I mean, I'm
but
looking
we
for
do
that
have-
team from the US.
Oh, yes, we do.
But we do have
Somewhere.
some Canadian representatives in the York University team. That's
Do we?
on Motorsport.
Oh, well, I've learned something new tonight. Thank you, Jess.
I'm the person who studies the entry sheets to make sure I know which team is racing where and when, and yeah. So it's that's on Motorsport from Canada. So there we go. So we do have a Canadian
sorry, for some reason, Jess,
representative.
I completely misunderstood what you said, and I thought you were saying there were people from York who were Canadian.
No, York University have a team called Les On Motorsports, and they have a representative from Canada.
This is where it gets confusing, though, guys. So we've technically got 3 University of Yorks in the entry list this year. One of them go by another name of La Sonde.
One of them's your B.
Yep.
And then it's the other one.
And then the other one who is La Sonde. So La Sonde is the Canadian university. Their team's called La Sonde, but they are officially called University of York. York A and York B are the actual British ones, so this is why I normally make the joke where I'm like La Sonde or University of York, and whenever we're talking about the British ones, I go University to York for that reason.
I get you.
So yes, that one that you see in 18th position there, so that is York, as in our British counterparts. York, aye. And then if we go into 21st to 40th, where are they? So that's York in 38th position. That is actually La Sonde. That's why their logo is different to the other one. So LM stands for La Sonde Motorsport. Those are our Canadian counterparts.
I learn something new every day, Monty.
I know. Meanwhile, we've been chatting absolute rubbish for the past 15 minutes, and we've hemorrhaged 20 viewers.
That I'm not at all surprised by, guys. So thank you for your patience. Of course they want some racing. We all want some racing, and we are going to get it very, very soon. I'm having a look at all the qualifying times at the moment. The admin teams are putting up the grids as we speak. I'm waiting for them to give me an update to let me know when we are good to go. I reckon we've still probably got about another 5 minutes.
At this
10
point,
minutes.
if you're on the chat and you're watching, feel free to comment and just tell us a subject that you want us to talk about.
Yeah.
Chief Bentil Hassan
Any
has been saying it
questions?
is actually awesome to be in this challenge. Queen Mary, Formula student in P13, is incredible for us. So congratulations to Queen Mary for doing so well. They seem very pleased to be in the top 20 in the top server, just outside of the top 10, but things can change. They have been showing up consistently, getting into scraps and drama, which is where points and positions are made up. So congratulations to them. And if you want to hear us talk nonsense about a subject of your choice, then do just comment. Let us know where you're watching from, who you're supporting. We believe that at 8:45 we will be getting ready to warm up and go racing again at Donington. I would point out I may have to depart because my train leaves in an hour, and I don't think we're going to be done in an hour, but you've got some very capable people here, Jess and James, so you're in safe hands. It's the 3 J's, really, except that my name is, well, begins with a G. As you can tell, we are quite literally clutching at straws here, but we will be bringing you live coverage very soon. Jojo Scott says, as a geography graduate, I'm quite enjoying the chat. Just don't ask me to read a map. Jojo, nor me. I once was on an orienteering trip in an old military base full of trees. I misread the map completely, sent us off the grid, and then the trees started creaking, like sounded like they were going to bend over and crack and fall over in the wind, and one of my group had a panic attack, and we were late back for the bus, and the whole bus slow clapped us, and meanwhile my teammate was there hyperventilating because she thought she was going to get crushed by a tree. So yes, that went well.
That's beautiful.
I mean, yeah, that is absolutely beautiful indeed. Not
Meanwhile, might be worth putting the live timings for race 2 into the chat, and
I
also
will do
for
that.
me, because I reckon we may need it. Hopefully the timing tower will have been fixed, but for both us here in the commentary box and for you at home, it might be an idea to have those live timings available to you. I believe Jess is going to work on that now for us. Thank you very much, Jess. Where are you watching from? Do please provide a map. By the sounds of things for this conversation that we've been having tonight, we're going to need it.
The link's not working. I think I need the mods can make it hyperlinkable.
No, it's just because the server's not on yet, Jess. Give it another 5 minutes, and once the server's been made live, then it will work again.
Perfect.
So you're all good on that one.
Save that link in your bookmarks, ladies and gentlemen, because you may need it for this race.
Absolutely. So that live timing is there for everyone to have a look at whatever time you want to. Is the live timings? That's what the students are seeing as well. So it's what we make reference to as well when our timing towers go down. So yes, you're more than welcome to have a read of it and see what you think.
As we're filling for time, I would also just like to thank Jesus and Nube for hosting me in their flat tonight, because their Wi-Fi is vastly superior to mine, and they've been very kind and let me use their kitchen cum dining room to host tonight's event from. So thank you very much to Jesus and Nube.
Thank you, Jesus. That's something I thought I'd never say.
Oh
I'm
my god.
just having a look at the provisional results again from the top serve in race 1 there. I'm still mesmerised by Bolton. That was just a crushing drive from them, I have to say. They were just in control the whole time, so fair play to them winning from Southampton there. And Salford, you can never discount them, can you? They're always there or thereabouts in the top 5, and they're just relentlessly consistent. But I'm just looking further down. You'll see in one of the middle columns there, we've got positions gained and lost. Look at that, guys, in 8th and 9th. So Munster were our highest climbers provisionally for that race. Of course, these are all provisional results prior to protests and penalties, which get implemented tomorrow or on Tuesday. But at the moment, it looks like Munster were our highest climbers, so they get a bonus point for that, for climbing up 12 points. But honourable mention as well to QMF is not Mother. It's Queen Mary, Formula student. There we go. For gaining 10 places as well. So yeah, shout out to them on YouTube. I see they've been commenting already. And fair play, guys. For your first season, you are making a very positive impression on the series. So it is great to see what you guys are up to.
Server 1 and Server 2 for Race 2 are now up and live. So the link for those live timings should be working. We'll be warming up now for race 2. Going to go racing and hopefully finish in time for me to actually go home. Otherwise, well, I have got no idea. I haven't actually got that far.
You're going to have to sleep with Jesus otherwise.
I think Nube may have something to say about that. Anyway, we'll be going to you from Donington National Circuit. Just quickly talk us through the difference between the national and international circuit at Donington, please.
As if I get my notes back up again, because I was not expecting to talk about that. The S's is kind of like the big difference, because in the Grand Prix circuit, so they go through Starkey Straight and into the Fogarty S's, then they got the Melbourne hairpin, and then they head through Goddard's into the Wheatcroft Straight. In the national circuit, they go through Starkey Straight. They completely forget the Fogarty S's. They don't go through the Melbourne hairpin, which I am disappointed, because I love the Melbourne hairpin around Donington Park. So they go through Starkey Straight, then heading into Roberts, so the end of the hairpin, and then into the Wheatcroft Straight, and that is turn the one. Apart from that, the circuit is pretty much the same. They're going through Redgate Turn 1, they're going through Hollywood, which I love, the Granier Curve, the old hairpin, Starkey's Bridge. McLean is actually a really fun corner to drive on as well. I've seen it in British touring cars as well when they raced there back last year. I think it's one of their opening rounds in this year as well, which I'm excited to watch for as well. And then yeah, so it's not 9 corners, and the main difference is there's no Melbourne hairpin compared to what we see in the national. And the difference is compared to the Grand Prix circuit, 1.957 miles, 3.149 kilometres national circuit. The Grand Prix circuit, 2.498 miles, 4 kilometres. So you do the maths, not much difference, but some technical parts of the circuit have been removed for the national circuit, and it's been giving us some great racing nonetheless. Anyway, for race 1, hope you will see the same for race 2, as they're on their warm-ups at the moment.
They are
and the
indeed.
Towers are back.
The towers are back, so you should be able to see on the stream without having to panic and refer to that. I will continue to refer to the timing sheet at my end, simply because sometimes the quality is a little pixely. But we will be able to hopefully keep a track of everyone on track tonight. Salford looking quite strong, as are the Hull A team. Bolton also looking relatively impressive as well, not to mention, of course, University of Glasgow.
I'm just having a look at who's qualified for this one. We've got a couple of new names here, guys, who we didn't see in race 1, so it's great to see that they've made it in for the second race. So York. Aberdeen, York, for example, the winners of the bottom York. University to York, they won to first race and to bottom server, and now they're up here in to top server, so welcome to top. We've also got Aberdeen as well. They seem to have come in, so that's great to see. 41, I do not recall seeing them in the first race. That is Red Bird Racing, our Hong Kong-based university. So good morning, team. Glad that you managed to join us. It's great to have you with us. Thank you so much for giving up your social lives for joining in for this race.
The first one.
Redbird were.
Yeah, I think
Redbird,
so.
no, I
remember.
believe Redbird were in server 2.
Oh,
So
right, okay.
there we go then. We'll be going racing again for you very shortly. Currently warming up, getting ready for this second race in the gorgeous wet twilight of Donington. Looks sunny, is rainy. That tyre balance just on the edge of whether it's worth running those wets or whether going on slicks. Having got the experience in race 1, what option will the drivers take in race 2 for their tyre selection? Will they bank on the wets as the vast majority of the field did in race 1, or are they going to go a bit different and take on the slicks? I believe we only had one team on slicks
Belfast.
in race 1. Belfast indeed then.
And currently,
How
they're the
many
only
people-
ones on slicks again in this server just now.
It's an interesting choice, suffice to say. Yeah, you can see them, Queen's Belfast, on the V70 slicks. Everybody else, wet.
Ooh.
I
We've
feel it in my
got a-
fingers, I feel it in my toes.
We have got a team in the 1973 car, Giles.
Well, hey, Stavanger are here, I think.
Yeah, it's the number 10, which I need to remember what university
That is. It is Stavanger. Very good spot, Jess.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, guys.
With the live timings, hello. With the live timings, it actually tells you what car they're racing in. So that is why I've got that. So look at that. That is beautiful.
Well, that's how you
And
make
they
an
go onto the
introduction.
gravel.
That is how you make an introduction. Very nice bit of stunts and drift down the straight there. I believe that's what they call Arab drifting, but that was beautiful to watch. Hopefully we'll see more of them during the race. It'll be interesting to see if the one with the skinny wings can do better than the big wings.
Exactly.
Free practice has come to an end. We're going to line up on the grid for race 2 of round 3, the Formula Student Sim Racing Series 2023-2024. Southampton currently on top. That could all change if Bolton keep going with their charge forwards towards the top of the grid. They won race 1. Can they win race 2? Only time will tell. The rain is coming down in a haze across the virtual tarmac of Donington. What is going to be the order of the drivers on the grid? We will find out for you very, very shortly. Oh, I love that. 906, 1960 something, with Aberdeen behind the wheel there, looking gorgeous in the setting sun. Oh,
They've just posted
does
the
not get
fastest
much better
time
than
in
that.
warm-up as well, so is that an omen of things to come, guys?
It could well be. Let's have a look at who's qualified then, in what position.
We can
We're in the
actually
pit
see
lane
it
at
this
the
time
moment.
with the tower.
We should be
Absolutely.
able to.
Yeah, we're just waiting for the grid to form. Then it will be a 4-minute countdown. That gives everyone a chance to connect, make sure the controllers are working again. This is their opportunity to flag to the admins of the server that there's something wrong and we need to restart the countdown again. You would not believe in the past how many times we've had people complain about, oh, my controllers aren't working, the force feedback's died, I can't drive this anymore, can we restart? So we've gone, okay, well, just have a 4-minute countdown rather than 30 seconds, because those who will remember Season 1 will remember that car with the dead controller on the grid.
A controller?
A dead controller, which, wow, controller, steering wheel, there we are. But also
I
their
was gonna
keyboard.
say,
I mean, their
I
keyboard,
bet
There we
they're
go.
running pads.
basically all of their controls died though, and so they were just left on the grid as everyone started, and obviously chaos ensued. But enough about that.
Look at
On to
this, then.
today. Look,
Look
it's
at
Queen
this.
Belfast Racing.
Queen's University Belfast are in pole position for race 2. Following them up in second is Khan behind the wheel of the University of Glasgow Racing A-Team's entry into this race. In third, it is Bolton. In fourth, it is Cardiff University, Cardiff Racing. Southampton, surprisingly, with their second entrant there in fifth. In sixth, it is NTU.
Nottingham Trent.
Nottingham Trent making an appearance there in the top 10. Hull A are in 7th. Aberdeen in 8th in what is my favourite car on the grid. Just look at that. How gorgeous is that? Curves in all the right places. In 9th, it is Salford. Red Bird, another entrant from the 1960s in a 906 there in 10th, all the way from Hong Kong. In 11th, it is Manchester. Stavanger in 12th, in the only 73 on the grid. University Portsmouth Racing Electric in 13th. Polytechnic University in 14th, another 906. Vigo there in 15th. Nice to see them join us in the top server. York A in 16th. Victoria, the Spanish team, there in 17th. Hull B as well. Hull got double representation in this round. They are there in 18th. And then Queen Mary Formula Student are there in 19th. And rounding us out in the top 20 in this server is MTU.
Munster.
Cue the theme song.
So we know all the teams without looking at the entry list. Go
We've
us.
done rather well. Yes, let's not get too smug because chances are something would inevitably go wrong. But for now, we're a few moments away from going racing, and you're on board with the Red Bird of Hong Kong, and apparently the ceiling's not watertight because according to the graphics that I'm seeing, those water droplets are coming in through the ceiling. So the Gimp behind the wheel there is getting wet. Southampton there on 5th. That does surprise me, given how dominant they've been. Not to see them on the front row is a bit of a surprise at this stage in the championship. Glasgow in 2nd. They'll be determined to get up into 1st. But Queen's Belfast doing a remarkable job there. You can see South Stavanger in the only 73 on the grid. They're down in 12th. Can they make up enough places off the line? The slightly smaller rear wing, letting us know which one's which.
Just looking at
under
the
a
tower,
minute to go.
Giles. Just looking at the tower there. Belfast are the only ones on slicks, sure enough, and they're starting from pole. This is going to be the story of the race, surely.
Indeed it is then. This tyre change for Belfast may have made all the difference. We're going to find out whether that choice has paid off. 25 minutes of racing. The lights are about to come on for race 2, round 3 of the Formula Student Sim Racing Series 23-24. Bolton were your race winners in race 1. It looks like that could be all set to change for race 2. Porsches, as far as the eye can see, on the National Donington circuit for 25 minutes of wheel-to-wheel action. Let's find out who our winners are going to be. Can they get in done? This could be very interesting.
30 seconds are counting.
On the edge of their seats. 30 seconds to go before lights out. The lights on the cars flashing away. The teams in the booth supporting their drivers, ready to manage every bit of data that comes into them. And here come the lights. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, 6 lights. We're about to go racing again at Donington. Lights out and away we go. And it's a fantastic start for the University from Belfast as they get ahead. Cardiff coming in to take on Glasgow and Bolton. Coming in on the inside, they're 3 abreast through turn 1. NTU up in there as well. They're bunched together, 3 abreast at times. There's a lot of traffic here going through the first corners. Are we going to see a pile-up? There's a lot of jostling for positions. No big crashes thus far, keeping it relatively clean as they go through that first chicane. And you've got Bolton up past Queen's Belfast already, and there's contact there. Oh, side by side as Belfast go through past Bolton, taking back that position. Glasgow swamped by Bolton off the line then. Cardiff down into 4th, Glasgow down into 3rd. Belfast holding on to the lead. Bolton sneaking on through to take their 2nd position.
And this is very tight between a lot of teams on this grid currently. I mean, we've got people that have dropped down quite a few positions. Nottingham Trent down into 20th. They've not had the best start to their race so far, but we can see with Vigo in towards the final part of the circuit. Turn, I think turn 8, I believe. You pass the cone, so you know to not hit the S's part of the track because you're going to be going the wrong way, Sunshine. And we've got Bolton and Belfast heading towards Redgate, in towards turn number 1. Bolton.
Belfast and Bolton side by side. Bolton just ahead by a millimetre, and then Queen's Belfast have got the inside line. They go through. They're off. Bolton. Bolton are off onto the grass. Just about managed to hold on, but they have lost any chance within the next lap of having it out with Belfast, who have taken off and are desperate to cling on to that lead. Glasgow now filling the rear view mirrors of Bolton, with Cardiff coming in behind them in the orange. The battle for 2nd is on, and it is hot.
It is looking hot at the moment, and they've got to think about their pit strategies. But Glasgow doing a lot better in this race compared to race 1, so it shows that you don't necessarily have to do well in race 1 to get your heads back into gear. They probably had a bit of a debrief from race 1 into race 2, saying what have we done wrong, what can we do better next time. And they're right on the back of Bolton, which strongly suggests that they have a car which is good for straight line speed, but it's going to be harder in the corners. So we'll watch Glasgow make their way through into the start-finish straight, and the top 3 are pulling away from the Seville. Cardiff trying to catch up as well. So they're in this little group currently for the fight for the win of this one. Don't forget, a maximum of 50 points will be given to the winner of this race in race 1, which could make a difference into your championship proceedings. And if you're not in the top server, you get 25 points for a race win. So that makes all the difference currently. Glasgow in 3rd. Salford dropping down into 6th. They were in 4th in the last race, I believe, so they're not having the best of showings currently, but there's still a long race to go. There's plenty of actions and stops to be made, and they're right on the back of pole A for 5th place at the moment.
We are indeed on board with Salford, hunting down Hull 18, getting very close there. Flames spitting out the back of the car from Hull, millimetres separating the bumper and bonnet, getting very familiar with each other's cars here as the rain comes down and the sun flares off the windscreens. It looks gorgeous, but only millimetres separate the teams from success or disaster, and they are so bunched up on this circuit, very little separating the teams, that a mistake for one means a mistake for all. There's Stavanger in the only 73 on the grid, looking to the inside and going past Manchester, outbraking them down that straight, and they've misjudged that completely onto the gravel track. They give the position back to Manchester, and through go Portsmouth Racing Electric and Redbird from Hong Kong as well. The team from Stavanger will be absolutely gutted with that, as Queen Mary follow through as well, taking 10th position. Down in 11th are Stavanger after that off into the gravel trap. They outbraked the team from Manchester, then completely misjudged it, ploughed into the gravel trap. Victoria in 14th then, clinging on in that 906. They're under pressure from Southampton and MTU, Munster University. Looking absolute, this Aberdeen, I should say. Victoria trying to put the pressure on Aberdeen, the Scottish team in the 906. You've got Southampton have overtaken Victoria. They are now in 14th. Really does surprise me, I can't lie to you.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised because they were fighting with Bolton for the race win at race 1, and now they're struggling down in 14th, which that surprises me. That can make a difference in this championship, and with Southampton leading and with Bolton doing so well, could this be a good shot for Bolton to score the most points in this round? I think this could be possible because they won in race 1.
That's an interesting approach from Red Robin, using all the tarmac and some of the grass in a desperate attempt to get past Manchester, and they've been swamped as a result of that mistake, with Queen Mary, Formula Student, coming through as well. They're 3 abreast into turn 1, changing down, braking hard. The 2 orange cars ahead of them, trying to squeeze through. Bit of contact there, and that's not gone well for Manchester, who've been toe punted off by the team from Hong Kong. The stewards will look into that, no doubt. That was just a little bit, I imagine, this braking misjudged. You can see the rain coming down there, the grip not where the driver from Hong Kong expected it, and you can see there the effect that the lack of grip is having as 2 of those cars go off very wide. That is Aberdeen and is that Victoria, Manchester and Aberdeen going well wide onto the grass and doing Percy the park keeper out of the job in the process. Manchester getting back onto the track, overtaken by Hull B, coming back at Hull B, looking for a way round. Nothing there at the moment for the team from Manchester. They're going to have to make do with 17th. They won't be happy with that, but I imagine they will be pleased to be making an appearance in the top server at the very least. Portsmouth Racing Electric under pressure from our current championship leader Southampton. I think that's all going to change. Looking a bit squirrely through there were Portsmouth Racing Electric, and there goes Southampton side by side with them, trying to outdrag the team from Portsmouth down the inside. They take the inside line, clipping the apex perfectly. They take the position with a battered left-hand side. You can see the imprints there, dents all the way across Southampton's car. Could that be why they're down in 12th? Looking really, really solid are Southampton, working under the pressure that they've got with Portsmouth Racing Electric, Victoria and Munster all behind them in their rearview mirrors. Pulling away are Southampton in 11th, determined to chase down Vigo, their next team in the hunt for a higher position. You can see them just coming off the screen in yellow there. Portsmouth Racing Electric now under pressure from Victoria, with plenty behind them as well. You've got NTU and Munster as well, the 3 cars in white, chasing that car in orange. Manchester.
I think it's very tight from Manchester down there, who was almost in the gravel trap once again. They just got to keep their car on the road. It may not be, people think, oh, it's too easy to keep a car on the road, but it is definitely not around this track. Because I think we've got Hull B and Aberdeen fighting in the background for P17 and 80 down the finish straight. And
meanwhile,
we've
up
seen
ahead,
this like the last race. Cream Belfast leading 1.6. That was the gap we saw to Bolton and Southampton in race 1 at this point in the race. As soon as you get into the lead, they're finding their rhythm, aren't they, Giles?
They are indeed. Belfast settling in to the groove, as Madonna once said, or was it get into the groove? Regardless, they're grooving on up and heading towards what I imagine will be their first pit stop relatively soon. One of the teams, only team in fact, to be running slicks. Behind them is Bolton with a gap of just under 1.5 seconds separating them. A fantastic line there by Bolton, crisply cutting the apex. Nicely done there from the Northerners, who will be determined to try and get a second win. They've got 1.5 seconds to catch up, but Glasgow might have something to say about that. They're 3.5 seconds back, so they've got a bit more ground to make up, really cutting that chicane. Desperate to get up on there. Not quite where they want to be at the moment are Glasgow. Cardiff down in 4th position in the orange there. 8 seconds separating them from the leaders. No pit stops as yet. Hull A in 5th. Locking up, it looked like to me, from Cardiff. I saw some smoke as they exited the screen. That will not do any good for their tyres. It may beckon an early pit stop if they flat spot their tyres. Hull A doing all right. And there's our first pit stop then. It is Munster University in. And what are they going to go on to? Are they going to stick on the wets, or will they head on to slicks? Queen's Belfast seemingly making slicks work very, very well. A 2-second advantage now to the team from Belfast over the team from Bolton, as Munster head back out onto track into last position, but they have certainly preempted the rest of the pack when it comes to fresh rubber. This undercut is extravagant, but it might pay dividends for them in a few laps' time. What do you reckon, Jess?
I think with them pitting early, of course they've got 20 minutes left to go. 14 minutes left to go of this race. Even though it may not be like a long time, 15 minutes on tyres like that, it's going to be difficult for them. But never say never in Formula Student, as we've got a battle between Southampton as they go wheel to wheel with the 1973 Porsche car, and Southampton up into 9th spot. But the 1973 car is not going to give up without a fight, which is great to see. Nice to see that on the grid this evening with very hard currently.
I do think Southampton have got away here, just not quite close enough.
No.
Stavanger to be making a move. If they were, it would just be an act of desperation that would spoil their race. I would do what they've done and just settle for 10th at this point. Especially as you can see, that Stavanger car looks to me to be just squirreling just a little bit. And I reckon the tyres are beginning to go away on that 1973 Porsche. Could we see them come in on the next lap? We'll have to stay with them to find out. But an excellent recovery drive for Southampton. Not quite sure what they're recovering from. They didn't qualify particularly well in this round, but they've been making up the places quite nicely, making it look relatively easy. Up ahead of them is Redbird from Hong Kong in the 9:06, a gap of around 2 seconds to make up there. So we'll have to see in a few laps' time. It won't be anytime soon unless the Hong Kong team make a mistake, but they seem to be relatively comfortable in that absolutely gorgeous piece of engineering from the Germans. I just absolutely love that, and the team from Hong Kong are making it work with an 8th place at the moment, car number 41A. The rain looking to me to be coming down a little more heavily now. I don't know about you, Jess, but that looks heavier to me.
I think it is going a bit heavy, but it may just be us in the commentary box. You never know; it could be the same intensity for these drivers out on the track currently. And I'm just looking at I'm just going to see what Munster's lap time with the fresh tyres. A 1:17.859. They just set their best lap time, so not quite as fast as the likes of Queen's Belfast, who just set a 1:16.0, and Bolton with a 1:15.4. So it may just be down to the pace difference. So they may not have the advantage currently compared to Queen's Belfast and Bolton, but at least they're giving it a good old go, as Belfast is under pressure for Bolton, and a huge lock up with the tyres, and that is allowing Bolton. Oh no, it's not.
Salford have gone through. Salford have gone through on Hull, and both of them have gone straight into the pits. But Salford have got that.
Oh my goodness!
Whoops-a-daisy. Someone's missed their box. Cardiff caught up in the drama between the two cars in black as Salford get ahead of Hull to get into the pits earlier. That will make the world of difference as Cardiff pull away, having got into the pits before either of them, but they are tumbling down the running order. Cardiff in 10th now, having been quite comfortably in the top 5. Salford got in the last moment of drama against Hull, but Hull have got away earlier, and Hull have got their position back in the pit lane. Outstanding work for the A team from Hull as they exit the pit lane ahead of Salford, who had made the position on them just moments earlier with a major lockup involved. But that is Hull A back ahead of Salford. Ahead of them, Stavanger, the 1973 Porsche in red. Can Hull get ahead of them? Meanwhile, we've got some great battling going on here with Aberdeen, Victoria taking each other out almost as Aberdeen go away and Victoria go through. Aberdeen sideways and nearly taking out the team from Spain. That looked hairy to say the least. You're on board with the team from Spain. Aberdeen there, back down in 11th following that moment that sent them swirling across the track in the biggest way possible. Plenty of tire smoke off of them. If they weren't planning on coming in for a pit stop before, they better have now. Chances are they've flat spotted. Bolton in 5th now, heading out of the pits, dropping down through, but they will be on fresh rubber. I imagine they'll be able to make that up, no problem. Queen Mary, they've gone past already. Queen Mary also in the pits. Bolton back out on track then. They are in 4th. Southampton ahead of them with a gap of 8 seconds. There's a gap of 24 seconds between Southampton and the second place car at Glasgow. Glasgow and Queen's Belfast in a league of their own then.
We could sit for a different winner in this championship, which will be awesome. But I think the only ones that can stop them are like for Bolton, that can get a second race victory in a row. And there comes Glasgow on Belfast, who's looking to change all of that in towards T1 Belfast. Calvert in the right-hand side line from Glasgow. Great defending from the Queen University Belfast team. Pass into Redgate and in towards Hollywood, and the curves coming up through turn 3. Lovely part of the track coming up as well. And we've got more pitters. We've got the Polytechnic team who just came in, same with Aberdeen and Manchester, who has come into to their stops as well. It's just 4 teams yet to box. That is Queen Belfast, Glasgow, Southampton, and Victoria, the number 9. So they'll be coming in hopefully soon. Everyone else has done their stops, if I haven't mentioned them already. And it is Bolton that is the net race leader out of the ones who pitted. And speaking of that, Victoria has come into the box. So
and overshot the box by the looks of things,
yes.
reversing back to get some fresh rubber on their wheels. The team from Spain down into 10th, now down into 11th as Munster go through. Can they make up those positions with the fresher rubber? Is the rain coming down just that little bit harder? We'll let you know. Victoria then heading back out onto the track in 12th position as Portsmouth Racing Electric are in 13th. You can see them there on your screens in orange. Portsmouth making a big splash in the Formula Student Sim Racing Series. They may not be winning, but they are consistently present, whether it's their alternative fuel team or their electric team. Meanwhile, you can see Queen Mary, getting a bit of toe punting. They've gone off as Salford go through, and they will have something to say about that. Not only the dent in their side panel, but the positions that they've lost as a result of that, getting punted off of the track as far as I could tell. Glasgow Racing down in 3rd, having been overtaken by Southampton as a result of pitting. You can see the blue car from Southampton ahead of them. There is a gap of 3 seconds for Khan to make up then in what remains of this race.
And it's just quite interesting to see the gaps being made by some of these teams, but Belfast wanting to get the overcut, it seems, and it looks like they're not going into the pits yet, so they're going to have to, oh yes they are coming in, so scrap what I just said. They're coming into the box to try and cover off the rest of them, and maybe their tyres was just not the best. Their last lap was so competitive though that they could have stayed out even longer, because we have teams in the 1 in the 116s. Queen Belfast set their best lap time on the slicks with a 114, so they could have stayed out no problem, but with some people catching up in a rate of knots, it's going to be tight. So we've got Glasgow and Southampton catching up to them. Where is Belfast going to end up in terms of that?
It's going to be tight.
Close.
Southampton are in. Southampton are in. It comes down to Glasgow versus Queen's Belfast. And I think Queen's Belfast have got in ahead and they have held on to their lead with an absolutely brilliantly played pitting strategy. They built up that buffer of over 30 seconds. They had 2 seconds grace when they headed out on track. Absolutely monumental strategy and well driven for the team from Belfast as they hold on to their lead. Glasgow 1.8 seconds behind them in second. Bolton in third. In fourth, it's Cardiff. Southampton have worked their way up now into fifth with Hull 18 in sixth. In seventh, it's Salford and Stavanger are in eighth. Queen Mary are in ninth, and rounding up the top 10, it is Munster. Cardiff there in orange coming round there. Looking a little bit sideways are Southampton, really putting it to the edge as they try and make up those places. They've got a gap of just about 12 seconds to make up on Cardiff. I can't quite see how long of the race is left, but I imagine it's something like 5 minutes.
Yeah, which could make a difference. It definitely could make a difference.
5 minutes to make up 12 seconds for Southampton. With the rate that we've seen them going, that could be doable. We could see some last lap drama between the cars in fourth and fifth. Salford are there in seventh. Stavanger battling it out with Queen Mary. Oh, and yet again, Queen Mary being the victim of someone trying to rearrange their side panels as Stavanger hold on to their 8th position in the red 1973 Porsche. Queen Mary not in a position to vie and attempt an overtake there, jumping over the curb. That curb really does launch the cars a good couple of inches off the track. I mean, full feedback like we get at the Williams eSports HQ would be wonderful for a bit of air like that. Can you imagine how that would feel in those rigs? Great. Stavanger then holding on to 8th position. Not a lot separating them, just under a second between Stavanger and Queen Mary. Queen Mary will be determined to make a move on the team from Stavanger, but will also be quite cautious. They've been victims of aggressive driving from people defending their positions. Their side panels showing that result. Getting very there with rain, heads on down at Donington, getting very close.
This is closer than the first race, Giles. I mean, they're having a bit more battle near the front and in the midfield than what we're seeing in race one, which means that they found a bit of their feet. They knew what happened in race one and knew what the battles they were going to go into. And Queen Mary has had a really good showing with their first season and in 9th already, and they would even be happy with 13th, but they're in 9th now, so valuable points for that team. And Munster, don't forget, they were the ones who pitted first out of everybody, and we'll see if that's going to make a difference or
I think
not,
that's paid
or
dividends
what the pressure rubber
then.
will be.
I think that really has worked out, because bear in mind, they came out in 20th and they're now in 10th. So
Yes.
hats off to Munster for being brave enough and ballsy enough to go into the pits and get set back into last position, because they have made that work. Side by side then, though, are Queen Mary and Stavanger. As Stavanger go defensive on the inside, Queen Mary on the outside. They're side by side through this right-hander. Queen Mary on the outside, not the racing line you want to be, but they've got the switch back now into this left-hander, and they go ahead, do Queen Mary. They're up into 8th, but Stavanger are not willing to let that go in the slightest, sticking to the bumper of the Queen Mary car like chewing gum on a shoe, or in hair, in fact. That's even more difficult to remove. But Queen Mary just might have managed to remove Stavanger from within overtaking distance of them, with a gap of 0.3 seconds as the timing board has it at the moment between the two cars. The battle for 8th is just about still on, but I think Queen Mary might have this. I think they've got away and done remarkably well. Jess, your thoughts?
I think I have to say it's all down to the Irish team who's leading at the moment, and with Queen Mary down in 8th place, Irish teams in the top 10. I have to say it's nice to see the improvement in this series, and we only have a few rounds, but the improvement that we're seeing from these teams already massive, and they're running in different cars for every round. They're not running the same combinations, by the way, and the next few rounds combination they won't know until the post briefing tonight, and so you guys won't know in the live stream until we get racing again in mid-February. So a bit of a taste of what we can expect, of course. The drivers know what combinations are going to be there, but they don't know what tracks yet. So they're doing well just to get used to these sims and finding out how to engineer these bits of the car. And we got Aberdeen.
Yes.
And the likes of Yerk. I like saying that now.
That's Monty's influence for you. This is a three-way battle then between Aberdeen, Polly U and York A as they try and go for 17th. Meanwhile, University of Portsmouth Racing Electric are in 16th, trying to keep their noses clean. They are 5 seconds ahead of that drama behind them. And ahead of them, we've got NTU and Hull B. We've got just under a minute of racing left, heading over to the race leaders, Queen's Belfast. They've got a gap of just under 2 seconds between them and Glasgow. That should be comfortable enough for them to hold on to that lead. I reckon that we've got another lap to go. They'll cross the line before the timer runs out here. So this is the second to last lap. I imagine the next lap will be the last one, which is good because I've got a train to catch. But Queen's Belfast have been absolutely dominant. They played that pitch strategy absolutely perfectly. Not to mention, of course, they have done wonders with the defensive driving, because Glasgow are a team you do not want in your rearview mirror, and they've had that from beginning to end and done really well. So I think this race has to go to not just Queen Belfast, but of course Queen Mary as well. It has been a race for the Irish tonight, so hats off to them.
And someone almost got on the grass again. I believe that was Glasgow.
Yeah, they are closing in on Belfast. The gap down to 1.3 seconds, but just not close enough to be able to get within overtaking distance or make a move on the team from Ireland. Ireland and Scotland then heading towards a battle for the finish, on board with Glasgow. Can they get close enough before the checkered flag to even try for the win? I don't think so. I think Glasgow are going to have to settle for second as Belfast head towards the checkered flag and race victory in race 2 of round 3 of the Formula Student Sim Racing Series. Only a catastrophic error could stop them from winning now. They are approaching traffic though. That could make all the difference. But I do believe this race does, and indeed will, belong to the Queen's Belfast Formula Student team. Congratulations to them as they take the checkered flag and take the win in race 2. Glasgow across the line, Cairn taking second, Bolton in third, Cardiff comfortably in fourth. They'll be happy with that. Southampton come across the line, or will come across the line in fifth, with Hull A in sixth, Salford in seventh. I might be getting a bit ahead of myself. There are some of these teams that are fairly close together and could see some last lap drama before the checkered flag closes their race out. You're on board with Hull A. They've got 2 seconds ahead of Salford. Can they get across the line? Yes, they can. They take 6th place. Do Hull A, I should say. Salford across the line in 7th. Queen Mary, a team we've been really enjoying watching tonight. They come across the line in 8th, followed by Stavanger, the 1973 Porsche, getting the tail out and really enjoying themselves, holding that nicely. Well done there, as do Munster. Great. Well, I say holding that, and then they go and do that. Nicely done. Vigo, the Spanish team, cross the line in 11th. Victoria in 12th. It'll be Red Bird from Hong Kong in 13th. Hull B in 14th. NTU in 15th. Portsmouth Racing Electric team in 16th. York A in 17th. Aberdeen in 18th. Polly U in 19th. And Manchester bringing up the rear in 20th position. And I will say my goodbyes now, and I will hand you over to Jess and Monty to close out tonight's coverage. They'll be having an interview with the driver from Queen's Belfast. I do look forward to catching up on that one. But for now, good night from me, and over to Jess and Monty.
Thank you, Giles, and have a good train journey. I hope it's smooth. I really do. But what a race! I'm trying to get my words out. Apologies. What a race for Queen's Belfast, and also a good redemption race from Glasgow, who seemed to struggle in the first race, but seems to do very well in the second race. And Bolton, obviously, climbing their way up there. But yeah, It was a great race from our top two. Glasgow, if they had a few more laps, I think they would have got them, but I think Belfast was clipped them in the end and a good win for them. What do you think, Monty?
I think it was a very interesting race to watch there, Jess. I was very, very impressed to see Belfast hold on to that for a multitude of reasons. One, it's always great to see a brand new university, the series, come and win. I think it was fantastic to watch the only car on slicks make it work on a very greasy circuit out there tonight. So it does show from a tactician point of view that this is what the challenges are all about. This is what the racing is all about as well. It's not just about who's going to be fastest on the track. It's who could be smartest with their brain. So I have to say, as a team effort, well done to Belfast for pulling that one and being the only ones brave enough to give slicks a shot tonight.
And that worked.
It did. They made it work to their favour, and I cannot wait to see what the final standings, what our overall results are after this. I am just on Discord at the moment to see if we can pull the driver from that race across to find out how he did it. And I'll tell you what, it was fantastic. But whilst I go and pull him off quickly, should we talk about what's coming up next?
Yes, exactly. And this is the dates coming up. The 17th of February is what the next date is for the next round of Formula Student combination and track to be confirmed. We're not going to give you any hints just yet. It's going to be revealed in the post-drivers briefing later on. So the drivers will know then, but we will know on the 17th what combination is. It could be any one. Oh, hold on, if I get my PDF document up, so we've already done Donington National, we've already done Brands Hatch, and we've already done Interlagos. So the tracks that could happen in the next round, it could be the Hungaroring, it could be Kyalami. We haven't seen that in the world. That's one of my favourite tracks on a Assetto Corsa, but it may not necessarily be in that order. And in the types of cars that we could see coming up, we had the RSS3 in round number 1. We had, I think it was the Formula Ford in round number 2, and we all had the GT Classic cars for round 3, and we still got the GT3s, the Audi TT Cut, which is amazing, and the MX5s. And for those of you that are big iRacing fans, you know that, but again, necessarily it may not be in that order. So that's all lots to come for the next 3 rounds, and then of course we got the finals at Williams eSports. Potentially is going to be the week of Formula Student, but dates to be confirmed. Of course, we'll keep you updated on our socials at Formula Student for more information of when that date will be. I'm excited to go there in July. I'm sure you will be, Monty, as well. And same with Giles as well. He's looking to join us again for that as well. There's some great dates and combinations coming up. The question is, we don't know what track combinations will be until they get racing again in February, but they all know beforehand, so they have about a month to practice.
Absolutely. No, as you can see there, guys, they've got 1 month between each round from now on. They'll be doing their engineering challenges as well in between those times. So, yes, lots of points on grabs. It's 100 points per round, plus an extra 50 points for those engineering contests as well. Now, I did have a Mr. Beckett with us. I think we can hear him. However, his camera has just died for some reason, so I'm not quite sure what's gone on there. But we'll give it another shot because I do believe he is out there. Are you there, sir? Ah, we can see you. We can see you.
We can see you, but we can't hear you.
Fingers crossed. It has definitely been an evening for technology not working on our side, guys. Thank you so much for your patience and being with us to the end tonight. We really do appreciate this.
And we've got lots of support for Belfast in the chat currently. So they are loving the performance from that team in P1. So some lovely fans there, Monty, which is great to see.
Yes, no, and as I say, it's fantastic to see a new team getting on board and doing this. I believe Belfast were part of season 1. They dropped out last season, but they're back again this year, so it's fantastic to see that.
A lot of love for Todd, and he was the one who drove in race 2. Can you hear us, Todd?
Nope, it looks like Todd can hear us, but he can't see us, so This has just been the story for the night, really, hasn't it? So,
Yeah.
if you don't laugh, you're gonna cry, you know?
It's just probably there has been times, and you know me, I also commentate on leagues where I have to control the stream. Sometimes Discord can be an absolute nightmare at the best of times, and unfortunately tonight Discord is having another one of those nights where it's having a little bit of a hissy fit currently, which is a bit of a shame. Munster are very happy with their 10th place, Monty, and you should be too. That was a great performance from Munster as well. They were the first ones to pit Monty for their first stop, and they made it work. So good job to them.
Absolutely, very canny strategy from there to come from the back of the grid to come and get themselves a nice haulage of points. That was fantastic going.
Oh, we've lost.
We have. We're going to try something else here. We may be able to hear him, but we may not be able to see him this way.
That is not a problem. And I'm just seeing other points in the chat as well. Someone pointing out Queen Mary going from P19 to P6. That is a big jump. I'm sure Monty, you'll go through that when we go through the results later on. But that was a massive jump. The island teams are definitely doing well, and I can hear
some sound.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you. Yeah.
Fantastic. We got there in the end. Todd, is it Todd?
Yeah, it is.
It is Todd. Congratulations, sir.
Thanks.
Wasn't that
a good race?
It looked it, didn't it? Jess, what do you think of that? Well, you must have many questions for Todd, surely.
Yeah. First of all, I got my first question. How did you do it on those slick tires to get that win?
Well, the whole way through, even through qualifying, I felt the slicks were faster. I know it was meant to be a wet server. It didn't feel overly wet to me. It definitely wasn't fully dry, but the slicks were still able to be the fastest tire. So I just stuck with them and tried my best.
And you were, even if you were staying out, you were pulling off times which were faster than the fresh wets when people were coming in as well. So even when you pitted, it didn't matter when you pitted because you'll still come out in the front anyway. Your battle was mainly with the University of Glasgow. How was that for you with them being at your mirrors that whole time?
It was quite tricky. I could just see him in the mirrors throughout the whole race. I just had to manage myself just to make sure I didn't make a mistake. It's just, I knew he would always be there to pounce if I did make one.
Yeah, and of course, it's your. Is this your first season, or have you done many seasons already at Formula Student Sim Racing Series?
This is just my first season. It's first season for Queens as well, for the whole team. So we're excited to keep going forward with it.
And it's 6 different winner as well. We've had 6 different winners in the last 6 races and 3 rounds, which is great to see. And let's talk about moving on from the sim racing world to the real world. July coming up, of course, the real Formula Student UK 2024. How is your preparation going on for that?
It's going quite well. I think testing's coming up soon. It'll be good to see how the car is when we get it on track, and we're just looking forward to going to Silverstone most of all.
Yeah, so it looks like you haven't been to Silverstone at all, so that's going to be a very great experience. I've been to Silverstone for the first time last year, both as an F1 fan and obviously to commentate on, and I was very thrilled by the whole experience. I'm sure you will enjoy it as well. I'm sure Monty has some burning questions that he wants to ask you, so I'll hand it over to you, Monty.
Thank you, Jess. To be fair, you asked the question which was on my mind of how you managed to make the slicks work, but it was interesting. No, that was definitely the main talking point, because you guys were the only ones that were ballsy enough to go with it, so fair play for doing the research and go, yeah, do you know, actually this works better for us, because being the event captain, we were wanting to go for something which looked was a little trickier for you guys, just to try and determine where's the fairest compromise for tonight. So tell me, from a preparation point of view, the practice that you guys have been doing in the run-up to this, like how many laps had you guys done? Obviously it was like multi-car choice. Everyone went for Porsche tonight. Why did you go for Porsche, not the others? What were the kind of pros and cons which got you to this conclusion and ultimate win, which came because of it?
We felt that the 911 was just the easiest to set up. It was the most well-balanced car, and it had the best kind of, power to weight ratio out of the choices. So after practicing a lot with it and working a lot on setup, it definitely did feel like the right choice in the end.
Well, evidently it was. Otherwise, you guys wouldn't have got the win out of that. So no, it was very, very good to see. Very, very impressive to see. And no, I think that's a huge chunk of points you guys have got out of tonight, and definitely get you back into the competitive edge of the championship. It's great to see some fresh blood come through here, and to get a win like this. No, many congratulations.
Thank you. Yep. Thanks.
Alrighty, Jess, I'm not sure about you, but I think we need to go and find out who our winner of the race was. Do you? But before we do that, do you have any final questions for Mr. Beckett?
That is my questions done and dusted. I don't know how I don't know how you managed to pull it off, but you did. Massive congratulations on your first win in the series. Here's hope for many more for Queen's Belfast, and best of luck for the remaining few rounds of the competition.
Thank you. We're looking forward to it.
And we're looking forward to seeing you racing, so I'll let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening. Well done.
Absolutely. I'll see you in the driver's briefing in a few minutes' time. Well done.
He's already gone.
That's all good. Right, Jess, should we go and find out who our winner is tonight? Who's your money on?
Ooh, I'm going to say Bolton.
It was only really got to be one team tonight, wasn't it? They used that joker to maximum effect. So provisionally at the moment, guys, University of Bolton have won round 3 overall. Stonking race from them, the first one. Another top 3 in the second one. That really was a class act, wasn't it, Jess?
Yeah, I have to say that I had a feeling they were going to be up there because they were very consistent in a lot of the races. I think that win helped them get under the line. Southampton, they were so close to getting first place. It was, I think, quite an interesting. I think it was an 8-point swing between Bolton and Southampton as well. Glasgow, I wasn't expected to be up there in the top 3, but their performance in race 2 really put them to the post. Salford in 4th, and we got Hull in 5th. I think it's Hull A, I believe, in 5th. Cardiff did well in 6th, and Queen's University Belfast with their win, 67 points overall, and they managed to get themselves in the top 10, as well as Queen Mary University London in 8th. They're doing very well. Munster in 9th, and University of the Basque Country.
Victoria! Victoria!
Oh yeah, that's Victoria in 10th. UCD in 11th. University of Portsmouth, B 12th. Then we've got D Montfort in 13th. They did very, very well in race 2, and I had some good word with them in the chat. So massive congratulations to them. I'll let you say this one, Monty.
Wait a minute, what position are we on? So I was too busy laughing away at the comments because Giles is watching this from the train station now.
14th,
Hi, Giles. 14th, University to York.
There we go. Then we got Vigo in 15th, Birmingham in 16th. I believe they were doing well in race server 2, so well done to them. Trinity St David 17th, Hull B in 18th, NTU in 19th, and Sheffield in 20th spot. That was your top 20. So those 20 teams doing very, very well tonight and could get some nice points for that. Have we got the lower half of the standings, or should we not bother with that?
I've only got the top 20 available, but what I have got on my other screen here, Jess, is just server 2, so we can at least show you guys quickly what happened there just before we show the final championship standings as we leave round 3. So University of College Dublin, the reason they managed to stay in a strong position there was because they won their race in the bottom server for race 2 there. De Montfort there in second position. Very glad to see that they managed to get going.
Their first podium.
Yes, with a great result for them there as well. They were having some serious issues trying to log into the servers tonight, so that's great to see that they finished with the second position there. UWTSD there in 3rd. Oxford, yep, that's them definitely off 0 points now, Jess. That's them in 4th, with Sheffield Hallam in 5th, Birmingham in 6th, Heriot Watt 7th, Portsmouth Alternative Fuels, mixed fortunes for them tonight. Top server for race 1, bottom server in 8th for the second race. Kingston there in 9th. Exeter in 10th. Strathclyde in 11th. Bath in the Jag in 12th. Then we've got University of Glasgow B in 13th, Napier in 14th, Staffordshire in 15th, and then rounding us out there they are Liverpool John Moores in 16th position. And so after 2 races tonight, guys, we have our championship standings. We leave round 3 with the University of Southampton still the championship leaders. But yes, look at that gap. It's come down to just 8 points between them, Bolton, Glasgow in 3rd, Hull in 4th. But you can't discredit Salford, can you? Look at them. They're still lurking there. It's the same protagonists always, Jess.
Yeah, it's Southampton, Bolton and Glasgow. They were the ones who were battling for the championship last season. The question is for Southampton and Bolton, they can't afford to lose their consistency now, because otherwise Glasgow could take advantage of that. So they just got to keep their minds on the game here for the next few rounds, and for pretty much the next few rounds they have another joker to use. All the teams in the sim racing series, they get another joker to use for round 4, 5 and 6. They get 2 jokers per season, one for rounds 1 to 3 and one for rounds 4 to 6. I mean, they haven't used it in the first 3 rounds, then they lose that joker completely, but their minds now focus which rounds do they think they can use their joker. Well, they won't know until they find out the combinations, but it's a very close championship. Great to see the island teams up there as well. University College Dublin in 8th spot, Salford in 5th as well, and Munster in the top 10. Now that is great to see. Some great performances from them. They finish in the top 10 in race 2, and they're in the top 10 of the standings. Really great to see.
Absolutely, it's great to see so many new names out there making a big impression, big positive impression. It's great to see that they're getting some positive takeaways out of this and really mix things up in the field as well. So no, it's a huge thank you to all the students for giving up their time, for taking part in this. We really hope that you're getting something positive out of this. This is your race series at the end of the day, so keep letting me know what we can add to include into this, and we'll make it worth your while to keep on coming back race after race, because from an entertainment point of view, I don't know about you, Jess, but I thought tonight's racing was cracking.
It was great, and I'm sure Giles thinking was too, and let his thoughts in the chat. I will echo. Hats off to the Irish teams tonight. The pit stop strategy from Queen Mary was stunning, also cracking recovery from Southampton, and Theo was saying exactly the same thing. Southampton, good recovery there, and they still managed to lead the championship after tonight, so I'm sure they won't be too disappointed one bit as well. I'm just trying to see, I think, yeah, again, a lot of support for Queen's Belfast from race 2, and with Southampton with their recovery drive, that means the gap has closed in between themselves, Bolton and Glasgow. How's that going to go for the next few rounds remains to be seen, but we get to do all over again on the 17th of February. Rounds to be confirmed of where we're going to be racing and what track combination. The drivers will find out very soon, in fact, what they're going to be racing in. And of course, the next round of the engineering challenge will open at midnight tonight, so that the teams will be getting their hand into that, as well as prepping for the next round of Formula Student Sim Racing. Plus, they think about their real life cars as well. Any final thoughts, Monty, before we wrap up for this evening?
I thought tonight was a fantastic race. It was great to see those with the jokers making the most out of them. It was great to see those being brave for the slicks and the damp conditions, getting a great result out of it. But yeah, no, it was fantastic as well to see 6 different universities in the first 6 races win. What an open season of racing we're having just now. And I can't wait to go into the drivers' briefing now and tell them what rounds 4, 5 and 6 looks like. So Jess, I'll leave you with the last words.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to find out when we're streaming next, follow us on Twitter, Instagram at Formula Student. Subscribe to us on YouTube as well, where you get keep up to date on all the streams as well. Make sure you follow us on social media. I'm at JessGames95 on everything. Instagram, Twitter, the lot. And what's your socials, Monty, if you please?
At Racing Mont.
And for Giles, even though he's not here, it will be rude if I do not mention him. It's Giles_Cosgrove on Instagram, Twitter. I think it's just mainly those two, so make sure you follow us. But for myself, Giles and Monty, have a good rest of your evening. We will see you next month on the 17th of February for round number 4 of Formula Student Sim Racing Series 2023-2024. Take care, everyone, and bye-bye.
And we're done.